Chapter 701. Sima Yue saw the shock in Third Aunt Du's eyes and explained, "The Zhongzheng clan and Yinyang Palace are very powerful. If we want to take revenge, we can't do it alone. Although I'm the Junior Valley Master of the Divine Devil Valley, I haven't been there before. I'm not familiar with them, and I can't let them take the risk for my personal revenge." "You're right. We can't let others pay with their lives for our affairs," Third Aunt Du said, "but if we want to build a force, how can it be done in a day? We're not in a hurry to take revenge." Sima Yue said, "Our forces are not strong now, at least wait until we are stronger. But, to establish a force, financial and material resources." Third Aunt Du still felt that this matter was not easy to handle. "Sanyang, we've already prepared the financial resources. We also have all kinds of professional masters. There are formation masters, beast tamers, alchemists, weapon refiners, and seeker spirit masters among our friends, so we don't lack professional masters." Sima Yue said, "The only thing we lack now is people. This isn't difficult either." Hearing her say this, Third Aunt Du nodded and said, "You've always had a plan when you were young. Since you've already thought it through, go ahead and do it. No matter what you do, Sanyang will support you." Sima Yue pulled Third Aunt Du's arm and rubbed against it, acting coquettishly. "I knew Third Aunt would support me," she said with a grin. "Even if I don't support you, you still have to do it, right? Since my opposition is ineffective, I might as well support you." Although Third Aunt Du's tone was helpless, her eyes were full of love. "Third Madam dotes on me," Sima Yue said contentedly. "However, you can't do this alone. Count Third Aunt in as well," Third Aunt Du said. "Third Aunt?" Shimin Feng wanted to stop Third Aunt Du. "Feng, a third mother's family was broken and her people died a long time ago. It was the Shimin clan who gave it to my family. Do you think Third Aunt can stay out of this matter?" Third Aunt Du asked. "I just feel that since you already have a stable life, if you stay with us, I'm afraid there will be a lot of danger." Shimin Feng said, "I'm your elder. If there's any danger, I should be in front of you." Third Aunt Du said, "Otherwise, if your third uncle knew, he would come back and scold me. Feng, if third mother wants to come, then let her come. It just so happens that we're short of people in the early stages. There are many times when you can't appear, and I spend most of my time in the academy. It's good that third mother can help us look after things." Sima Yue said, "Yu is still the most sensible. Feng, you're so naughty. You don't have to eat the pastries I make later." Third Aunt Du threatened. "Third Aunt." Shimin Feng grabbed Third Aunt Du's other hand, which made Kong Sangyi's eyes widen. This guy was actually acting spoiled. She thought that Shimin Feng was already different in front of Sima Yue, but she did not expect that there would be a day when he would act coquettishly. Oh my God! Did she see wrongly? Seeing Kong Sangyi's expression, Shimin Feng pretended to cough twice and sat upright. "Third Aunt, you know that Feng really likes the pastries you make. If you don't let him eat, he'll cry later." Sima Yue did not feel that acting spoiled was shameful. Anyway, she was a girl and could act spoiled no matter how old she was. Thinking of this, she even rubbed against Third Aunt Du's arm. Hee, I'll make some for you later," Third Aunt Du said with a smile. Outside the courtyard, Xiao Wu saw Third Aunt Du like this and her face was full of unwillingness. Why did these people have to stick to Master? Master was clearly hers. Master had never smiled at her like this before. Now she was actually smiling so happily. Sima Yue felt the grievance from there and her eyes flashed. Then she said to Third Aunt Du, "Third Aunt, are you familiar with the Dark Forest?" "Not really. I have an agreement with the spirit silkworms. They provide me with silk and I give them the spirit wine I brew." Third Aunt Du said, "The spirit silkworm's habitat is not in the depths of the forest, so I haven't really gone in." "Then do you want to go in with us this time to take a look? Go into the forest?" Third Aunt Du was a little surprised. "Yes, after leaving here, we have to start planning to build up our forces. Third Aunt, you have to leave with us too. Don't you want to see what the forest looks like before you leave?" Sima Yue said, "Xiao Wu hasn't been there before, right? It's a good opportunity for her to broaden her horizons. The more she sees, the faster she grows. But Wu Er is still young and her strength is not high. Now that the dark forest is dangerous, won't it be too dangerous to go in? We can protect her. Sima Yue said, "Third aunt, don't worry. Since we've decided to go in, we have enough confidence to come out safely." All right then. Third aunt Du saw Sima Yue's insistence and agreed. Then when are we going? We'll go after you make us pastries. Sima Yue said, I was just about to inform the others to come over. Since we're all going, I'll make more. Third Aunt Du stood up. Thank you, Third Aunt. Third Aunt Du left and walked to the door of the courtyard. Seeing Xiao Wu standing there, she asked, Why are you here? Xiao Wu looked at Third Aunt Du pitifully, her eyes full of tears. Hearing her question, she didn't say anything and turned to run away. Master was no longer her master. She would let her do such a dangerous thing. She really didn't love her anymore. Third Aunt Du saw Xiao Wu run out crying and knew her character. She shook her head helplessly and didn't chase after her. She turned to the kitchen. Yue, if Third Aunt wants to participate in this matter, then her disciple should also come. But I see this little girl's character. Kong Sangyi said worriedly. The disciple chosen by Third Aunt won't have a bad character. But because she was brought up by Third Aunt and depended on Third Aunt since she was young, she was used to Third Aunt giving her all the love. Now that Fenger and I have appeared, she will have a sense of crisis as if we stole her master. A little temper can be tolerated, but if it's too much, we don't mind correcting Third Aunt's character for her disciple. So you let them go to the dark forest with you? Kong Sengyi asked. Look at her performance in the dark forest. Sima Yue said, and what I just said to Third Aunt is indeed a reason. This child has always stayed in the city and rarely goes out. Seeing more of the outside world can also broaden her horizons and expand her mind. At least she won't feel that there's only Third Aunt in her life. Her talent is very good. Kong Seng said, it is not bad, so I hope she can follow Third Aunt well. If she really doesn't listen, then we can only... The matter of forming a force couldn't be spread. She had to exclude all uncertain factors. Chapter 702. Crazy Wife, Godly Doctor 5th Missy Chapter 702, Spirit Silkworm Chapter 702, Spirit Silkworm. Sima Yue went to the kitchen alone, intending to help Third Aunt Du and tell her her thoughts. I've spoiled Wu Er too much over the years. Third Aunt Du was not angry. It's good that you want to test her. What we are going to do must be kept secret. If the Zhongzheng clan and Yinyang Palace find out, the consequences are not something we can bear. Thank you, Third Aunt. Sima Yue said, but I believe in Third Aunt's judgment in choosing people. Xiao Wu is a little emotional now. Once she releases her emotions, I think she will be a great help to us in the future. I hope so. Third Aunt Du sighed. She did not like to interact with others all these years and relied on Xiao Wu for survival. Even Xiao Wu liked to stick to her. She had something on her mind and neglected to guide Xiao Wu, causing her to be a little stubborn now. She hoped that she could guide her properly this time. Fatty Chu and the rest got the news from Sima Yue and checked out of their rooms and came looking for her. After Third Aunt Du finished making the pastries, she went to look for Xiao Wu and said something to her. When everyone set off, Xiao Wu also came along. Her eyes were red and it was obvious that she had just cried. But the way she looked at Sima Yue and the rest was not as angry as before. Sima Yue smiled at her. If Third Aunt Du could help her open her heart, then they could skip the part of testing her. If not, let's go. According to the route from Chongming, we will probably take 6 to 7 days. She said to everyone. They came out of the city and Sima Yue called Chongming out. Everyone went up and flew towards the dark forest. When Xiao Wu saw Chongming, she was a little shocked. She did not expect her to have such a powerful sacred beast. Thinking about her own contracted beast, it was a level 1 sacred beast that her master had painstakingly obtained for her. Thinking about her master, she thought about what her master had said to her just now. Yue and Fenger are my family, and you are the child I brought up. I won't abandon you because of them. I hope you can get along well with them. They didn't join to fight with you for me, but to love you with me. But if you let your jealousy blind your kindness, then not only will they not like you, but master will also not want you. I know you're a kind child, so you won't let me down, right? She looked at the backs of Sima Yue and Shimin Feng. Would they really love her? However, she still wanted her master to be her own. What should she do? He felt so conflicted. Looks like we came out really late. We didn't see anyone along the way. I reckon that everyone is already in the forest. Fatty Chu saw that there was no one around, only the few of them, and sighed. Anyway, we're not going to snatch the auspicious beast. What's the hurry? Sima Yulu said cheerfully. Did those people go as well? Sima Yulin asked Bei Gongtang. Yes. Their eldest brother and second brother left after 2 days. They're probably holding on to their last hope. Sima Yue said. They found out about the scarlet bees last time. You're still using scarlet bees this time. Is it okay? Sima Yuchi was a little worried. I changed to a few higher-ranked ones this time. It won't be so easy to find out. Sima Yue said. It's not just them. The others also have scarlet bees with them. I pretty much know what's going on in the forest. Wow, you didn't even tell us. Fatty Chu cried out. Do I even need to say it? Sima Yue retorted. Fatty Chu glanced at the others. Everyone looked at him as if he was stupid. He cried out. You all know, but I don't. That's not fair. You should say that everyone is smart, but you're stupid. Wei Ziqi said with a smile. You didn't tell us either, but we all guessed it. Guessed? Fatty Chu was defeated. Why didn't he guess? No, it wasn't that he couldn't guess. It was just that he didn't guess. Why didn't he? In the end, he was too lazy to use his brain. Little Wu sat quietly beside Third and Du. She watched Sima Yu and everyone's banter. She felt that their previous interactions were strange. Everyone was so casual. They seemed to be making fun of each other, but in fact, they were very close. She suddenly understood her master's words. Third Ant, you said in the morning that it's time for you to go to the spirit silkworms to collect silk. Why don't we go to the spirit silkworms first? Sima Yue asked Third Ant Du for her opinion. Third Ant, give Little Rock a direction. Sima Yue patted Little Rock's back. Little Rock took everyone to the spirit silkworms' territory. On the way, Third Ant Du told everyone about the spirit silkworms. There were many types of spirit silkworms. The quality of the silk produced varied according to the species. The better spirit silkworms were snow silkworm, jade silkworm, profound silk silkworm, and so on. The best silkworms now were 9 turns snow silkworm, ringed silkworm, profound sky silkworm, and so on. Because the spirit silkworms' ranks were different, the quality of the spirit cloth they weaved was also different. The defensive ability after making clothes was also different. And the amount of silk produced by a spirit silkworm in a year was not enough to weave a piece of cloth. In addition to the spirit silkworm's rank, the weaving technique also affected the quality of the spirit cloth. They wouldn't understand it even if she explained it, so Third Ant Du explained it in one sentence. No wonder the spirit cloth is so rare. It turns out to be so troublesome. Sima Yuming sighed. If this spirit cloth is of high quality, its effect will not be worse than a spirit weapon. Sima Yue said. Third Ant, your weaving and embroidery skills are already very high. If you can get rare spirit silkworms, the spirit cloth you make will definitely be good. Every spirit cloth embroiderer hopes to weave a higher quality spirit cloth, but how can those rare spirit silkworms be so easy to get? Third Ant Du said regretfully. Since this continent has it, it is possible to encounter it. Shimin Feng said. I have heard some news about spirit silkworms, but I was not interested at that time, so I didn't pay much attention. But I remember that they seem to have said that there is a very rare spirit silkworm in the depths of Heartbreak Valley. It seems to be called 9 turns snow silkworm. Kong Sangyi said. 9 turns snow silkworm is in Heartbreak Valley? Sima Yue couldn't believe it. Heartbreak Valley is full of poisonous insects. How can 9 turns snow silkworm be there? It can't be 9 turns snow silkworm. Third Ant Du said. The living environment of this 9 turns snow silkworm is very harsh. It needs to be clean and holy. It won't live in a place like Heartbreak Valley. If there is a rare spirit silkworm there, it is probably ringed silkworm. Third ant, what does this ringed silkworm look like? Sima Yue asked. The biggest characteristic of ringed silkworm is that it absorbs poison, transforms it into spirit power in the body, and then injects the spirit power into the silk that it spits out. Read, please remember our address. Download, please go to. Chapter 703. We've been to Heartbreak Valley before. Even with our valley's special pills, we can't get close to the depths of the valley. Kong Sengi said. Heartbreak Valley is known as one of the 3 poisonous places in the middle. The poisonous gas inside is naturally extraordinary. Third Ant Du said, but the ringed silkworms bred in this place are of higher quality. Really? Sima Yoyue's eyes lit up. If we can figure out a way to get in, we might be able to find the ringed silkworm and obtain its silk. By then, all of us will be wearing spirit clothes. It will be very eye-catching. Hee Yue, I want 2 sets. Fatty Chu shouted first. Sima Yue poked her. You're so useless. You're only satisfied with 2 sets. When the time comes, we can raise as many spiritual silkworms as we want. Actually, this is also possible. There are still quite a few spirit cloth embroiderers on the mainland. Third Ant Du said, if we can recruit them, they can also become an industry in the future. Third Madam knows about this. You used to be the one in charge of the Shiman family's spirit cloth business. Sima Yue said, I don't know if the embroiderers in the family escaped the disaster that year. San Yang, if there are any surviving embroiderers, we'll guarantee their safety if they want to come back. If they're already living their own lives, we won't disturb them. All right. Third Ant Du replied. When I first heard that the clan was in trouble, I dismissed them. I think many of them escaped. Before they left, they told us where they might go in the future. When the time comes, we'll go look for them. The blood feud back then shattered our happy life. Sima Yue said, whether those people are willing to come back or not, don't make things difficult for them. After all, they have no obligation to face the difficulties ahead with us. Yes, they really don't have that obligation. Third Ant Du said, Little Wu, you've heard what we're going to do. There will be a lot of danger. If you want to leave, Master will arrange a good life for you. Xiao Wu was shocked. She grabbed her hand and begged, Master, don't abandon Wu, or will be very obedient and won't cause trouble. Could it be that Master was going to abandon him because of them? Thinking of this, her eyes instantly filled with tears. Wu, it's not that Master doesn't want you anymore, it's just that what Master is about to do is very dangerous. Master doesn't want you to be in danger too. Master hopes that you will be safe and sound. Third Ant Du patted her hand to comfort her. Xiao Wu kept shaking her head. She couldn't stop her tears from falling. Master, Wu, has lived for 20 years. I've been with Master since I was a few years old. Wherever Master goes, Wu will follow. Wu is not afraid of danger. Master, don't let Wu go. Is that okay? Third Ant Du was a little hesitant. She was also reluctant to send Wu away. After all, she had been with her for so many years. However, she felt that what happened next was too dangerous. After thinking about it again and again, she decided to send her away. Xiao Wu saw that Third Ant Du was still hesitating and turned her gaze to Sima Yue, saying, Yue, help me beg Master not to chase me away. As long as I can stay, I will do anything. I don't care about anything. I don't want anything. I just want to follow Master. Sima Yue saw that Xiao Wu's eyes were really scared. She said to Third Ant Du, Third Ant, since Xiao Wu doesn't want to leave, let her stay. We will protect her. But our early operations were carried out in secret. You will also arrange for her to be in a safe place. As long as the news doesn't leak out, nothing will happen. When we develop later, it won't be easy for them to hurt Xiao Wu. Sima Yue said with a smile, Third Ant, when Third Uncle died, the Shiman family was torn apart. Your life definitely wasn't easy. Although you raised her, she also filled your life. If you send her away, you definitely won't be able to bear it. Third Ant, you are very important to Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu is also the most important to you. Just let her stay. Xiao Wu nodded with tears flowing down her face. She looked at Third Aunt Du expectantly. Third Aunt Du hesitated for a moment before replying, "All right then, you will follow me. You have to always follow me. You must not act alone." "I won't. I promise." Xiao Wu smiled through her tears this time. Third Aunt Du took out a handkerchief and wiped her tears. "How old are you? Still crying? So many people are watching. Be careful not to laugh at you." Xiao Wu took the handkerchief and covered her face. She was a little embarrassed. "Third Aunt, since Xiao Wu is your disciple, she is naturally my sister. We only have a few girls in our group. We can't wait to dote on her. How can we laugh at her?" Fatty Chu said with a smile. "Indeed, here, only Yu, Bei Gong and Little Seven are girls. The rest are boys. Now that Xiao Wu is here, everyone will naturally treat her as a sister." Sima Yulu echoed. "I also think it's good to have a sister," Shimin Feng said. Elder sister and younger sister, that was a different feeling. In fact, everyone knew what Xiao Wu was thinking these 2 days. They had also interacted with many people over the years. Although Xiao Wu didn't think it through for a while, her temperament was not bad. She was even a little simple. Otherwise, she wouldn't show all her emotions on her face for everyone to see. Such a simple girl, as long as she thought it through, she would be liked by everyone. When Xiao Wu heard what they said, she thought that her master was right. They weren't here to steal her master. If she was with them, she would be protected by them. Thinking of her own thoughts, she was a little embarrassed. She shouldn't be jealous of them. She thought it through. She didn't feel uncomfortable when she saw Third Aunt Du smiling at Yu and the others. Third Aunt Du understood her disciple. Seeing her eyes, she knew that she really thought it through. She sighed in relief. Although she agreed to let Xiao Wu stay by her side, if she didn't think it through, she didn't dare to let her stay. If she didn't sincerely want to be with everyone, she might cause trouble in the future. It wouldn't be good for her or everyone. Fortunately, they entered the dark forest in 5 or 6 days. Little Rock took everyone to the place where the spirit silkworms were. Third Aunt Du thought that it had been a long time since she came to collect silk. There should be more. But when she arrived at the place she was familiar with, she found that there was not a single spirit silkworm. "Master, the spirit silkworms are gone." Xiao Wu came here twice with Third Aunt Du in the past. There were spirit silkworms everywhere. The silk that they spat out was placed in the middle of the lake. But now, not a single spirit silkworm was seen. Could they have been taken away by those people who came in front? Sima Yuran asked. "There are no traces of destruction here. It shouldn't be. I'll try to contact them first." After saying that, she took out a small whistle and blew it twice. Chapter 704. Third Aunt Du blew the whistle 3 times. Everyone waited for 2 minutes, but there was no movement anywhere. "Master, is this whistle useful?" Xiao Wu asked. "There should be," Third Aunt Du said with some uncertainty. "Back then, I made an agreement with their king that if something were to happen in the future, we would use this as a communication signal. I tried it twice and it worked. But you've already boasted for so long, and there's still no movement. Could it be that they're no longer here?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "That's hard to say. I have been getting along well with them for more than 10 years. I hope nothing bad happens to them. I'll try again," Third Aunt Du said worriedly. After that, she blew the whistle again. "There's movement." Sima Yue looked at the calm lake and said. Just as she finished speaking, a small head poked out from the side of the lake and looked around carefully. Seeing Third Aunt Du on the shore, the little idiot rushed out of the water. "Sanyang is here." The small body was completely out of the water. It was actually a round silkworm. When the spirit silkworm saw Du Sanyang, it immediately pounced over. "Little fatty, why did you go into the lake? Where are the others?" Third Aunt Du reached out to catch little fatty and asked. "Sanyang, Sanyang." "Third Madam, we're here." "Third Madam is here." Spirit silkworms emerged from the water one after another. For a moment, the surface of the lake was densely covered with spirit silkworms. So many spirit silkworms. When everyone saw so many spirit silkworms, they were all extremely astonished. Little X and Little White, why did you all go into the lake? Sanyang asked. Sanyang, a lot of people have come to the forest recently. Many of our neighbors have been captured or killed. The king wants us to hide at the bottom of the lake. Luckily, we hid in time. There were a lot of people behind us, and we were scared to death. Little Fatty spun around twice in Du Sanyang's hands and said, "Where is your king?" Sima Yuming asked. The king is still in the water. The queen is pregnant with a baby again and is currently in labor. Little Fatty said, the queen said that the baby born from the spiritual embryo this time will be very powerful. How can these silkworms live in the water? Fatty Chu asked Sima Yue in confusion. Where is this place? Sima Yue glanced at him. The dark forest? Where is the dark forest? Primordial lands. In the primordial lands, what's so strange about spirit silkworms that can live in water? Why are you making such a fuss? That's true. Fatty Chu rubbed his head. Even the ringed silkworm can live in the poisonous miasma, so there's nothing strange about the spirit silkworm that can live in the water. Oh no! Not good! A small humanoid figure came out of the water and shouted. What happened? King, she can't give birth to a king. I've used up all my spiritual energy, and I can't hold on much longer. The little one said anxiously. What? The spirit silkworms in the water and the people on the shore cried out. The spirit silkworms wanted to dive down to take a look, but they were stopped by a force. The queen can't handle so many of you going to see her. A 1-foot-tall little person with a white beard came out of the water. She was the one who stopped everyone just now. Grandpa-son, how is Ruoli? Very bad. The white-bearded old man waved his sleeves, and those spirit silkworms flew out of the water and landed steadily on the shore. Elder son Ruoli. Third Aunt Du was very worried. Can you let me take a look at her situation? The queen can't move in the water now, and you can't stay in the water for too long. There's nothing you can do if you go down. Elder son said to her, then turned to the other spirit silkworms. Hurry and go to the forest to find anything that can increase your spiritual energy or prolong your life. Go quickly. Sima Yue saw that Third Aunt Du was very anxious. Third Aunt, I'm a pill master and can stay in the water for a long time. I'll go down and take a look. Elder son and the other spirit silkworms looked over at the same time. Third Aunt Du excitedly grabbed Sima Yue's hand. That's right, you're a pill master, so you might have a way. Elder son, let her go down and take a look at Ruoli. Her. Elder son looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. She's my nephew. Let her take a look, and she might be able to save Ruoli. Third Aunt Du said. Elder son, you don't have any other ideas, right? I want to go too. Little Seven grabbed Sima Yue's hand, emphasizing her presence. Elder son hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Follow me. Elder son returned to the water, and Sima Yue brought Little Seven down. One had eaten the water avoidance pearl, while the other was an unknown species. Anyway, being underwater didn't affect them much. Sima Yue followed Elder son down for a long time. She originally thought that it was just a small lake in the forest, but there was a whole new world below. It was so big that it was strange. Elder son brought them to the bottom of the lake. On a high platform, a huge spirit silkworm lay on it, its abdomen bulging. Because of the difficult birth, its entire body seemed to be weak, floating on the surface of the water. Elder Sunday, did you get something good? A 1-foot-tall little girl asked. Not yet. This is Sanyang's nephew. He said that he's an alchemist and is here to take a look at the queen. Elder Sun said. Once they heard that it was Sanyang's nephew, everyone's resistance was reduced. They opened up a gap for Sima Yue to take a look at Ruoli. Sima Yue swam over, reaching out her hand to touch the bulging abdomen. Ruoli seemed to sense it, and opened her eyes slightly. Queen, let me check for you. Sima Yue inserted a bit of spirit energy into Ruoli's abdomen. The spirit energy first circled around her abdomen, then circled around her body. How is it? Is there a way? Elder Sun asked anxiously. According to the time of your spirit silkworms, this queen isn't due to give birth yet, right? Why would she give birth in advance? Sima Yue asked. She was hurt by a human, that's why she gave birth in advance. A little person beside Ruali said, "Do you have a way or not?" "I have a way, but I'm afraid that you won't be able to accept it." Sima Yue said. "What?" Elder son asked. "Contract." "Contract." Hearing Sima Yue's words, everyone present shouted. "How is that possible?" "No, definitely not." Before she could say the reason, the spirit silkworms all raised their objections. How could their queen form a contract with a human and become a human's contracted beast? Sima Yue wasn't in a hurry. She took out a pill and fed it to Ruali. Seeing that her life force had stopped flowing, she then turned to Elder Son and the rest and said, "You have less than a day to consider this matter." "A day?" "That's right." Sima Yue said, "Her life force is flowing away, not only because of the birth, but also because of this." She pointed at the bulge, her meaning obvious. Chapter 705. Because of the king's child? Everyone was confused. If this wasn't a difficult labor, then what was it? Seeing her like this, it seemed that she had a different idea from what they were thinking. "Which one of you will inject spiritual energy into your king's abdomen?" Sima Yue said, "I'll do it." A woman volunteered. She injected her spiritual energy into Ruali's body, but she didn't break the connection with herself. When she felt her spiritual energy being absorbed by the child in her womb, she was so shocked that she couldn't speak. "How is it?" Elder Son asked. "All of the spirit energy has been absorbed by the child in my abdomen." The woman said blankly, "How could this be?" Everyone's expression changed drastically. They all understood what kind of consequences this would cause. Your Wang Huai's child must be a mutated breed. Although it's not time yet, its vitality is extremely strong. If it grows according to the usual amount of spiritual power, it will be very normal when it's born. However, because your queen was injured by a human, the child in her womb was injured, resulting in premature birth. If it was an ordinary child, it would have been fine, but it was a mutated one. Not only did the injury not harm it, but it also stimulated its desire to live, causing it to unconsciously absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Most of your king's spiritual energy must have been sucked away by it. "Then what do we do?" The spirit silkworms cried out. "The pill I gave her just now can provide her with spiritual energy, but no matter how much it provides, it's not enough for the child in her womb. Once it's finished, your king's life will come to an end." Sima Yue said, "Don't you have a way to make it come out?" "Yes, cut her belly open and take out the child. But if you do that, your king will die as well." Sima Yue said, her situation was that she couldn't give birth to the child. She wanted to give birth to the child, but she woke up with a start. It couldn't stop automatically. No matter what we do, the final possibility is that 2 lives will be lost. Then what should we do? Everyone panicked. Although the contract will cause your king to lose his freedom, it will ensure the safety of his wife and child. This pill can support your king for half a day. After half a day, if you don't have the power of the contract to heal the mother and son, then this half a day will be the last half a day of their lives. Sima Yu said, "You can make your own choice. Go ashore with your king, if you please. If you don't want to, that's your choice. Little 7, let's go up." Sima Yue swam ashore with Little 7. Seeing them come out, Third Aunt Du immediately asked about Ruo Li's situation. Sima Yue told them the truth. Only then did everyone realize that the king's condition was so serious. Other than the contract, is there really no other way? Third Aunt Du asked in disbelief. Sima Yue shook her head. This is the last resort. The other methods, no matter what you do, will lead to 2 deaths. But Ruo Li won't be willing. Third Aunt Du understood the spirit silkworm and understood Ruo Li. It wouldn't be willing to recognize a human as its master. Not necessarily. Sima Yue felt that Na Ruo Li would be willing. You don't understand Ruo Li. She is a proud woman. She will never recognize a human as her master. Third Aunt Du said with certainty. But you forgot that she has another identity now. Sima Yue said. What identity? Little 7 raised her head and asked. Other than being the king of the spirit silkworm clan, She is also the mother of an unborn child. Sima Yue said. A woman can do anything for her child, not to mention exchanging it for its life. Is this a choice between freedom and a child? This is too difficult for it. Xiao Wu said. There are always many choices in life. You can't escape just because it's difficult. Also, many times we can't escape. Sima Yue sighed. Xiao Wu looked at Sima Yue. She still couldn't understand what she was saying because she had never experienced such a situation before. But she felt that what she said made sense. But she couldn't tell where it made sense. If it's possible, I hope that she can choose to live. Third Aunt Du sighed. She felt sad that her friend had to go through such a thing. The spirit silkworms by the shore were silent. They didn't want their king to die, and they didn't want her to become a human's contract beast. And the child in her belly. Their clan rarely encountered a mutated child. If it couldn't live, it would be a pity. Let's wait. Sima Yue found a big tree to sit down after speaking. Little Seven sat beside her and leaned on her, reaching out her hand to play with her hair. Even if she's willing to contract with a human, there shouldn't be much time left, right? Little Seven asked. But she's a sacred beast. Although Ziqi can tame sacred beasts, he needs to spend a lot of time to completely tame them. This king can't last that long, right? Little Seven tugged on her hair. Since I gave them half a day's time, that means I'm confident. Unless she gives up herself, she can live. Sima Yue caught a fallen leaf and twirled it in her hand. Is there something else that I don't know? There are many things that you don't know. You'll slowly find out later. Everyone anxiously waited on the shore for the spirit silkworm king to make a decision. At the bottom of the lake, Ruali, who had been weakly pacing back and forth in front of the door, finally woke up. King, you're awake. Her maids happily surrounded her. Why am I still alive? King was in her original form and couldn't move at all. She could feel the spiritual energy in her body flowing towards her abdomen, which made her extremely happy. Child, my child, you're still alive. King, how do you feel now? Still all right. Ruali said, I remember that before I fainted, my spiritual energy was completely used up. Why is there so much energy in my body now? If I were to give birth now, would I be able to give birth to the child? This elder son hesitated for a moment. In the end, he still brought Sima Yue down for her treatment, as well as her solution. So it's like this. I was wondering why there was spiritual energy. Ruali lowered her eyes and looked at her huge belly. She could feel the spiritual energy in her body flowing towards her abdomen. It was as if she could feel her own child greeting her in her belly. King, that human said that this pill can only support you for half a day. After half a day, the spiritual energy in your body will be completely absorbed by the child, and you will lose your life. Furthermore, because there will be no nourishment later on, the child will not be able to survive. Elder son said, So you're saying that the contract is the only way? Ruali laid on the stone platform and looked at the flickering water surface for a long time. Then, she said to the maid beside her, Bring me up. Chapter 706. Sima Yue was a little surprised when she saw Old Sun and the rest bringing Ruali up. Although she had expected her to come up, she didn't expect her to come up so quickly. It seemed like Ruoli cared more about this child than she had imagined. When Third Aunt Du saw Ruoli coming up, she hurried over and asked with concern, Ruoli, how are you? Ruoli's body was still weak, but it was better than before. She said weakly, I'm all right. Who is it that saved me just now? I didn't save you. I just helped you buy some time. Sima Yue stood up and patted the grass off her butt. She walked over and pressed on her bulging belly. It was still hard. Not bad. Thank you. Ruali said gratefully. If it wasn't for her, she wouldn't have woken up this time, and she wouldn't have felt the vitality of the child in her womb again. Can the contract really save me and my child? During the contract, the power of the contract will heal all your injuries. Naturally, it will also stabilize your child. Sima Yue said, Your child was agitated and felt that its life was in danger. That's why it took the initiative to absorb spiritual energy from the outside world. After it recovered, it naturally calmed down. Won't she give birth? It hasn't matured yet. Even if it's born, it won't be good. It's better to go back to the beginning and let it grow steadily in your stomach. Sima Yue said, the child in your stomach is a mutated breed. It should be of a higher grade than you, so it will take longer to develop. Since that's the case, I'll have to trouble you. You should have a beast tamer master here, right? Ruoli said. We don't lack beast tamers. But have you thought it through? Once you tame it, you can't go back on your word, Sima Yue said. For the sake of the child, so what if I lose my freedom? Ruoli said without hesitation. Because your child is in your womb, the power of the contract will also bind it. Sima Yue pointed out another point. Ruoli hesitated for a moment before saying resolutely, that's still better than not being able to come to this world alive. But I have a request. Go ahead. Ruoli looked at Third Aunt Du and said, I hope it's with you and me. Me? Third Aunt Du was surprised, then shook her head. I already have a natal contract beast, so I can't contract you. Ruoli, I can't let you suffer. It's okay. I'm only willing to form a contract with you. Ruoli said, only by forming a contract with you will I be at ease. I believe that with your character, it doesn't matter if it's a life contract or not. Seeing the trust in Ruoli's eyes, Third Aunt Du nodded. Don't worry, I will definitely not treat you as a contracted beast. We're friends, always have been. Sima Yue had always known that Sanyang was a good person, but she didn't expect that she would have such a good relationship with Ruoli even though she hadn't been here for long. You may begin. Sanyang said, and then said to Wei Ziqi, I'll have to trouble you. Third madam, it wasn't me. Wei Ziqi waved his hands and said, It's not you? Aren't you a beast tamer? I am a beast tamer, but I'm not as good as you. If you let me do the Spirit Silkworm King, I'm afraid there won't be enough time. Wei Ziqi said, You're a beast tamer? You're a beast tamer? How come I didn't know? Third Aunt Du and Little Seven looked at Sima Yue in astonishment as they cried out in surprise. Xiao Wu was so shocked that she couldn't speak, only staring blankly at her. You didn't ask me. Sima Yue shrugged, then took out a bed and got people to carry Ruoli onto it. Carry her up here. Old Sun and the others placed Ruoli on the bed, and Sima Yue came to the bedside and placed her hand on its forehead. Using the imperial beast art in her body, she began to tame it. Ruoli didn't have much time, so the taming speed had to be fast. Luckily, its consciousness didn't reject this, so the taming speed was much faster. Half a day later, Ruoli was completely tamed. Third Aunt, let's form the contract. Sima Yue retreated to the side. Third Aunt Du went forward and placed her hand on Ruoli's forehead. The contract formation quickly wrapped around the two of them, and when the formation dissipated, the two of them had successfully formed the contract. King's aura has stabilized. The spirit silkworms on the shore cheered. Ruoli felt the connection with Ruoli in her body, and also felt the child's condition in her body. She finally relaxed. But before she could say anything, she and Third Aunt Du were wrapped up by the formation of a level up. Third Aunt Du hadn't leveled up for a long time, and she didn't expect her stagnant cultivation to improve after forming the contract. Ruoli was the same. Not only had her condition stabilized, but she had also leveled up. She also felt that her child seemed to have absorbed a lot of energy, and had grown a little bigger. When the light of level up faded, the spirit silkworms were in an uproar. Their king hadn't leveled up for decades, and they didn't expect it to level up after forming the contract. This was too surprising. The spirit silkworms were born with spiritual energy, and could spit out silk with spiritual energy. This was a blessing from the heavens. But perhaps because of this, their level-up speed was slower than other spirit beasts, and it was harder for them to level up. Ruoli came down from the bed, and bowed to Sima Yue, saying gratefully, "Thank you. You saved me and my child. You are Third Aunt's friend. Third Aunt will only be happy if you are well." Sima Yue said, "But you are now Third Aunt's contracted beast. You can only follow Third Aunt, then they..." She glanced at the spirit silkworms on the shore. "Would these fellows let them leave?" "King." The spirit silkworms felt uncomfortable when they thought of this problem. King was now their contracted beast, and had to leave with third Aunt Do. What would happen to them? You can choose the next king. Broly said. Without the king's bloodline, no one will be convinced to be king. Elder son said. But if I want to leave, you can't leave with me. Broly said. We will leave with the king. Broly's maid said. They had all gone through the lightning tribulation, and turned into human form. Although their bodies were only a foot tall, if they wanted to leave, it wouldn't be too much of a problem. We also want to leave with the king. The spirit silkworms on the shore also called out. Yes, king. Don't leave us behind. Some of the spirit silkworms were already crying. Broly was so sad that tears were about to fall. Why are you following me? I will go to a very far place in the future. Are you willing to go with me? Wherever the king is, we will be there. Elder son, who had been silent all this while, opened his mouth and said something that Broly couldn't reject. King, you are connected to everyone by a contract. If you don't die, the next king won't be able to get this. So, wherever she was, their clan would be there. Chapter 707. Broly and the spirit silkworms were silent. With this restriction, they had no way of separating. Third Aunt Do and Broly were close friends and understood their restrictions. Seeing Broly in a difficult position, she said, "Why don't you stay?" "But I can't be too far away from you," Broly said. "You have so many people, they can't leave you." Third Aunt Do said, "I'm just afraid that if I leave in the future and something happens, it will affect you." San Yang, you don't have to be so troubled. Sima Yue understood what they were struggling with. If they don't want to leave their king, then let's leave together. Yue, you don't know this, but Broly and the others are ice silkworms. They have high requirements for their environment. If they leave this place, they might not be able to find an environment suitable for them. Third Aunt Do said, and we're going to do those things, so we won't stay in one place forever. There are so many of them, it'll be troublesome to move them. Third Madam, this is easy. Sima Yue said, when the time comes, we will definitely choose a place to be our sect. When the time comes, we will find a place for them in the sect. If the environment is not suitable, then we will modify it to be suitable. Modification? I remember that third uncle once gave you a strange stone, right? Sima Yue asked. Third Aunt Do thought for a moment and took out a small box with a small stone inside. This? Sima Yue took it and looked at it. This is it. Third uncle has given it to you for so many years, but you haven't refined it? Third Aunt Do shook her head and said, when the two of us were together in the past, I didn't find this strange. Later, I often used it to reminisce about your third uncle, but I didn't think of refining it. This is just a stone. Can it be refined? Of course, Sima Yue said, if I'm not wrong, this stone should be a meson. Meson? What is that? Sima Yue asked. In our current world, there are many little realms. You all know this. Sima Yue said. Everyone nodded. Didn't they want to stay in the little realm for a year? That time, we entered a big little realm, but not all little realms are that big. There are many small realms that are only as big as a house or a square. Sima Yue said, I've read about it in an ancient book. In the past, when the powerful people discovered this kind of small world, they would use their own methods to make it their own. They would refine it and then use all kinds of mesons as a medium to enter. Could it be that this is also a meson that entered the little realm? If I'm not wrong, it should be. Sima Yue said. Back then, third uncle vaguely mentioned this, but at that time, I wasn't sensitive to space, so it was only a guess. But now, I'm half sure because I can feel the spatial fluctuations. Really? Master, quickly try and see if this is really a meson. Xiao Wu said excitedly. Although she had never been to the little realm, she had heard about it from her master and knew what kind of place it was. If it was really a small realm, it would be much more convenient for them. Especially now, they wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. San Yang, this can only be confirmed after refining it. You should refine it first. Sima Yue said. Okay. San Yang picked up the stone and put the box away. Then she sat cross-legged on a large rock and began to refine it. She refined it for more than 10 days, and when she opened her eyes again, she already had a trace of connection with the stone. With a thought, she disappeared from the spot. This made Xiao Wu excited and scared, seeing someone disappear for the first time. "Where's Master?" "Looks like I guessed right. She should have gone to the little realm." Sima Yue comforted Xiao Wu. "Don't worry, San Yang will be out soon." Xiao Wu nodded, but she was still a little nervous. At this moment, Third Aunt Du was standing in a strange place. Seeing a forest that was comparable to the entire dark forest, she couldn't react in time. "This is the little realm that Yue was talking about? It's amazing there really is such a space." She looked around in amazement. "I'll bring them in to take a look first, then we'll see the situation here later." Thinking of this, the word "out" flashed through her mind, and she appeared in front of everyone. Xiao Wu saw Third Aunt Du come out and quickly ran over to grab her clothes. "Master, you just disappeared into thin air. You scared me to death." "Sun Yang, how was it?" Sima Yue asked with a smile. "It's just as you said. It's a little realm," Third Aunt Du said excitedly, "but I haven't seen the situation inside yet. I was afraid that you would be worried, so I came out first." "Then let's go in and take a look," Sima Yue said. "You just have to think of bringing us in together." Third Aunt Du was so happy that she forgot how Sima Yue knew this. She wanted to bring everyone in, and with a thought, the scenery in front of everyone changed. "This is the little realm? It's similar to the outside world?" Xiao Wu looked around. "It's basically the same, just not in the same space." Kong Sangyi said, "This little realm looks a lot bigger than the dark forest, but it's still gray in the distance." "Third Aunt, you haven't completely refined it, right?" Third Aunt Du nodded, saying, "I spent such a long time to refine it a little and establish a connection with it. If I want to completely refine it, I'm afraid I'll need a few years." "It's not bad to have this," Sima Yue said. "It's already so big without completely refining it. When you completely open it later, this little realm will not be small." "Ruali, what do you think of the environment here? Can you live here?" Third Aunt Du asked. "Of course." Ruali was very excited the moment she came in. We ice silkworms need a place with abundant spiritual energy. The spiritual energy here is even more abundant than where we're living now. The environment is also similar, so it's much better than here. It's just missing a lake. Isn't that simple? We just have to dig a lake here, then move the water from the lake outside here. Fatty Chu said. This idea is feasible. Fatty, I'll leave this task to you. Sima Yue said. Alright, it's very simple. Fatty Chu took out a hand grenade spirit weapon and threw it far away. After the grenade exploded, a huge hole was formed just like that. He looked at Sima Yue proudly, saying, How is it? This isn't bad, right? It's possible, but isn't your place too far from the forest here? Sima Yue asked. It seems so. Fatty Chu looked at the distance, and it was indeed a little far. This lake needs to be in the forest, so you should slowly dig one. Chapter 708. When Fatty Chu heard Sima Yue's words, he howled in pain. He kept yelling at her for not reminding him earlier and causing him to waste a grenade. Sima Yue ignored his accusatory gaze and turned to Third Aunt Du. Third Aunt, since you can open this place, you should be able to control it. Try and see if you can dig a lake here. You can do that? Third Aunt Du was very surprised. Of course you can. This is your space. As long as the messin is with you, you can do whatever you want. Sima Yue said, If you don't believe me, you can try moving the stone to the other side. Third Aunt Du nodded. She used her mind to think for a moment and really moved the stone to a new position. Master is so amazing. Xiao Wu clapped her hands and looked at Third Aunt Du with admiration. Third Aunt Du tried a few other things and gradually understood how to control this little world. Then, under the shocked gazes of Xiao Wu and Ruali, she dug a lake that was about the same size as the one outside. Now we just have to move in the lake water from the outside. Third Aunt Du smiled at Ruali after she was done. I believe that they will definitely like this place. Ruali said happily. I also hope that they will like it here, so you don't have to be troubled. Third Aunt Du sighed. Let's bring them in first. The spirit silkworms moved. They brought everything to the little realm. Not even a single strand of silk was left behind. After dealing with the spirit silkworm, Sima Yue and the rest continued to move deeper into the dark forest. They had been delayed here for 10 days, and many of them had already entered the depths of the forest. Yue, won't we be too late when we get there? Third Aunt Du asked. Sima Yue gazed into the depths of the forest and said, so much time has passed. They have already reached the depths of the dark forest, but they have yet to reach the center. If we follow the route that those people took, it will save us a lot of trouble. We should be able to reach the center around the same time as the others. But I don't think it's possible to trick the Sage Pavilion's people. We won't have the chance this time. We'll come again next time. Fatty Chu said. Yes, it's just something that happened along the way. Sima Yue said. Then what is your purpose in coming here? Little Dance asked. We've accepted a mission from the academy to collect flamingo eggs. Imperial College is a good place. As if remembering something, Third Aunt Du's expression was full of emotion. Chongming led everyone according to the information sent back by the Scarlet Bees. They avoided the ferocious spirit beasts along the way and approached the central area of the forest without experiencing a single battle. We'll reach the central area if we continue forward. We'll be a target if we walk in the air, so we can only move forward on foot, Sima Yue said to everyone. Chongming brought them to the ground, then transformed into his human form and followed them. There were many traces of people walking on the ground. It seemed that there were quite a lot of people walking here. With so many marks, it should be that many people chose to walk in after arriving here. Wei Ziqi guess. It's too dangerous here, especially when we're flying in the air. We'll become targets for land spirit beasts and humans. Since we're all here for the auspicious beast, we definitely don't want to become the target of others before we reach our destination. There are charred corpses here and the trees have been destroyed. There should have been a battle here not too long ago. It should be. Looking at the size of the pit, the person who fought here was at least at the level of a divine emperor. Then, to be able to fight with the other party and cut down the surrounding trees, it means that this person's level is not too low. I didn't expect that in the end he would still become a pile of charred bones. Even a divine emperor is dead. The people who came this time are not weak. According to the information obtained by the bees, many powers have sent experts here. There are even a few monarch-ranked. Even monarch-ranked people were attracted by the auspicious beast? Is this auspicious beast so attractive? The potential of the auspicious beast cannot be underestimated. Shimenfeng said, if a sect has an auspicious beast, their status will increase a lot in the future. And even if those experts look down on this auspicious beast cub, as long as the sect says so, they have no choice but to come. That's true. Sima Yue suddenly stopped in her tracks. What's wrong, Yue? Bei Gongtang was walking side by side with her. Seeing her stop, she asked. The people in front heard the movement and stopped in their tracks to look back at her. Shi Chen and the others are in danger. Sima Yue said lightly. She did not say that she was going to save them. They were recognized? Sima Yuchi guessed. Should be. Sima Yue glanced to the right and continued to walk forward. Let's go. Yue, aren't we going to save them? Fatty Chu asked, puzzled. According to Sima Yue's temperament, if the people she fancied were in danger, she should go and help. Why did it seem like nothing happened? Sima Yue was not worried about those people. They can survive so many years of being hunted down. It means that they are not weak. Since this is the case, this little trouble is not a problem for them. Since they can solve it, why should we go over? Besides, although there are many of them, they are not very strong. If they can't solve this, they are not worthy of our recruitment. We don't keep useless people. Fifth Bro is right. If we recruit useless people into our team, they might drag us down. Sima Yuran said. His gaze inadvertently swept past Little Wu. Little Wu lowered her head when she heard this. She secretly thought that she had to follow her master properly. Otherwise, what would she do if they did not want her to follow them? There is an empty space in front. We can go and rest. Sima Yue said as she walked over. A few kilometers away from them, Shi Chen and the 10 brothers were being chased by a group of people. The 10 of them were running rather pathetically, but they did not panic. When they reached an empty space, the 10 of them stopped running and turned around to look at the people who were chasing them. What is this? Why are the vines moving? They are demonized. The vines are demonized. Quickly cut them down. They can't move. The vines are poisonous. The people who were chasing them shouted in panic. They kept fighting against the vines in the air. Those who were wrapped in the vines gradually lost their senses and became numb. Why are the vines so strange? It's that person. He's a demon. Dai Yi stood outside the forest. His hands formed a seal and his mouth kept chanting in a language that they did not understand. The ordinary vines grew longer and longer under his control, tying up the other people in the forest. The thorny vines pierced their skin, and those people were suspended in the air, motionless. Chapter 709. Sima Yue, who was resting on the spot, suddenly had her eyes lit up. Her excitement was indescribable. Bei Gongtang had always been by her side. She could sense the change in Yoyue's expression. Has something happy happened? She asked. That's right. Sima Yoyue's smile widened. We got the treasure. We got the treasure? What treasure? Little Seven asked curiously. Good baby. Sima Yue ruffled Little Seven's hair. Hurry up and tell me. Little Seven looked very impatient. Sima Yue told them about Dai Yi's ability to control plants. Everyone was dumbfounded. He should be a wood-type spirit master, right? To be able to use one's own spiritual energy to control the plants in the forest, turning them into weapons to kill people. This is really rare in the past. Sima Yulin said. That's right. At the very least, none of us can do this. Wei Ziqi agreed. It is said that the 10 great evildoers each have their own abilities. Otherwise, they would not have been able to escape the pursuit of those people for so long. That's why I said we found a treasure, Sima Yue said. I wonder what the others are capable of. Everyone was even more curious about the 10 of them. No matter what it is, it definitely won't disappoint us. Bei Gongtang said, it's just that the more capable a person is, the more they don't like to be below others. Furthermore, the 10 great evils are used to being free. It will not be easy to get them to submit willingly. We'll know when the time comes. Sima Yue said, all right, let's go. They're heading this way. It's not the right time for us to meet them. In the forest, Dai Yi waved his hands, and the paralyzed people fell to the ground. The demonized vines gradually returned to their original appearance. Rustle? A thin vine suddenly extended onto a large branch and wrapped around a bee that was lying on top of it. This is that person's bee? Shui Qingyang looked at the struggling bee and asked. It is indeed similar to the bees I saw that day. Shi Chen reached out and sucked, and the scarlet bee was caught in his hand. Scarlet bees have been extinct in this continent, but this person has so many. If it's because he is the junior valley master of the divine Devil Valley, there is no news that the valley has such a thing, Yusi said. No, the second valley lord, Old Man Devil, took out a few years ago, but even if it was him, he would not be so extravagant as to use it as a tool to investigate. Feng Kai said, but this kid, he looks so young, but he has so many scarlet bees. I guess he got the Scarlet Queen bee. Scarlet Queen? How powerful is that? An I and E shouted. No matter who he is, he, S's. If we get the auspicious beast, we would not have any relationship with them, we. Yes, as long as we find the auspicious beast, third brother's illness will be cured. He was his deep father's. And he Dai Yue. He lowered his head. No one knew what he was thinking. What do we do with this scarlet bee? Let it go, Feng Kai said. Shi Chen thought so too. He opened his hand and the scarlet bee flew away. The scarlet bee flew one round in the air and suddenly flew back, landing on Shi Chen's shoulder. Yo, this little guy is still not leaving. An I and E reached out to grab the scarlet bee, but was stopped by Shi Chen. I think this is his idea. Shi Chen said, Since it's nothing much, let's just bring it along. This Sima Yue has guts. He's not afraid of our reputation and wants to make a deal with us. Shui Qingyang said. Third brother, are you really going to bring it along? Dai Yi asked. It's okay. This scarlet bee has been following us for a while. Since we only found out now, it means that he has some tricks up his sleeve. Even if we chase this one away, there will be others. Why not just bring it along? Shurchen said. Feng Ji didn't say anything. He looked at the people on the ground and his eyes darkened. Let's go. I hope those people don't come looking for us again. Our patience will run out eventually. If they come again, don't blame us for being merciless. That's right. These people always want to kill us. Do they really think that we don't have a temper? And I said hatefully. Maybe we really need to clear our names. Shurchen said faintly. Roar dash, an immature roar suddenly resounded through the forest, and the soaring aura caused everyone in the forest to change their expressions. Big brother, this is the aura of the auspicious beast. Shui Qingyang said excitedly. Seems like the auspicious beast is still here. Let's hurry over. And I jumped down from the big rock. That's right. We have to hurry over. The others must have heard the roar just now. If we're late, someone might beat us to it. You see, said. Let's use the flying beast. Feng Kai called out his flying beast and asked everyone to hurry up. Okay. Now that everyone's attention was attracted by the auspicious beast, nobody would come looking for trouble at this time. Feng Kai's giant eagle took off from the forest. Just as they flew out of the forest, they saw Chongming bringing Sima Yue and flying a few kilometers away from them. It's them. And I said softly when he saw Sima Yue and the others. I didn't think that they would be so close to us. You see, said. We don't have time to care about them now. Lao Air, speed up. Feng said. We're already at our fastest speed. Feng Kai said. But even if they were the fastest, they could only watch as Sima Yue and the others got further and further away from them. Sima Yue was stunned when she heard the auspicious beast's roar, because she felt a familiar aura from the auspicious beast. She was puzzled. She let Chongming transform into his original form and brought everyone over. Yue, our feelings weren't wrong, right? That was really... Bei Gongtang looked worriedly and anxiously at the heart of the forest. Sima Yue's expression was solemn. If it's just one feeling, it might be an illusion. If we all feel the same, then it's not an illusion. If it's true, whether it's true or not, we'll know when we get there. Sima Yue said, there's no use in worrying now. The sky above the forest was filled with people. Those who chose to walk flew up. Everyone wanted to rush to the heart of the forest as soon as possible to see what kind of auspicious beast it was. Sima Yue and the others flew for half a day before they finally reached the heart of the forest. It was the Scarlet Flame Lake that was marked on the map. When they arrived, there were already many people standing by the lake. Seeing Nalan Lan on the shore, Sima Yue let everyone wear the human skin masks that Fatty Chu made for everyone. Chapter 710. The Scarlet Flame Lake was the largest lake in the dark forest. It was named the Scarlet Flame Lake because its water was boiling hot all year round. According to the information given by the Xianyuan Pavilion, the temperature of the lake water was very high. It contained rich fire and water attribute spiritual power. The water also contained a lot of minerals. Soaking here for a long time could achieve the effect of body refining. However, because there were many sacred beasts around, and many of them lived in groups, humans usually did not dare to come here. Thus, even though they knew that there was such a good place here, no one dared to use it. At this time, the lake was covered by a thick fog, and the people outside couldn't see the scenery inside. Before Sima Yue and the people from the Sage Pavilion noticed this, they kept the Chongming and flew towards the shore with Bei Gongtang and the others. We can't fly over there. The entire lake is covered by a barrier. Those who came later couldn't reach the lake, so they could only land by the lake. It was no wonder that the people who came first could only stand by the shore and did not fly to the center of the lake. Not long after Sima Yue and the rest landed, Shurchen and his brothers arrived. Like everyone else, they were also blocked outside by the barrier. This barrier. An I in E reached out to touch the barrier and said with certainty, "This is not a natural barrier, nor was it set up by a spirit beast. It was set up by a human using a formation." Array formation? Shurchen flew into the air to take a look and said, "Indeed, there's a huge defensive array this time. I wonder who it is that can actually set up such a formation. With this, we won't be able to enter for a while." And I and E said, "What's the hurry? If we can't get in, no one else can either." Feng Kai wasn't in a hurry. Since everyone couldn't enter, there wouldn't be a problem of who would enter first. On the other side, Sima Yu and Sima Yulin came to the same conclusion. The person who set up this array is very powerful. The defensive array was turned into a barrier. This is much better than an ordinary defensive array. Sima Yulin sighed. Normal arrays can be broken, but this is a spirit array. If you want to break the array, you have to break the spirit array first. If this is really a defensive array set up by someone, doesn't that mean that this place has already been taken by someone else? Wei Ziqi said. Sima Yulin said confidently, "Furthermore, the person who set up the array is currently inside the array. However, the fog rising from the lake blocked our view. Because this formation can only be activated from inside." Inside? The auspicious beast is also inside. Doesn't that mean that person is protecting that auspicious beast? Fatty Chu cried out. When the surrounding people heard their words, their faces did not look too good. They thought that they had come early. They did not expect that someone had already obtained the auspicious beast. Roar! A painful roar came from the center of the lake. When the people on the shore heard it, their eyes became even more fiery. So what if someone else obtained it? As long as there was no contract, they still had hope. This aura is getting purer each time. This auspicious beast is evolving. A middle-aged man exclaimed excitedly. His eyes, which were originally uninterested, were now glowing. He was curious about the auspicious beast. It's evolving. I wonder what kind of bloodline it will become in the future. This barrier is used to protect him, right? I heard that the auspicious beast will be very weak when it evolves. The person inside predicted that the evolution of the auspicious beast would attract many people, so he set up this barrier. No matter what, the auspicious beast and the person can't stay inside forever. As long as they come out, we have the confidence to take it. Nalan Lan's senior brother said. Nalan Lan saw more and more people and frowned. She said worriedly, "There are more and more people. Have the reinforcements arrived? Marshal uncle won't not come, right?" Junior sister, don't worry. The people behind have already entered the dark forest for a few days. They should be here soon. Ma Lin said. Marshal uncle said that he would come after finding 2 people. When the time comes, he will directly cut through the void and come here. It won't delay things. Marshal uncle always has a sense of propriety when doing things. I have only seen Marshal uncle a few times. Naturally, I don't know him as well as you. Nalan Lan said, "Since you say there's no problem, then it's fine." Suddenly, the space was opened and a short, dark-skinned, bald man walked out with a few beautiful women in black. One mountain sect's ancestor is here. Ma Lin saw that dark bald man and his face sank. What kind of sect is this one mountain sect? A first-rate sect? Senior brother seems to be afraid of them? Nalan Lan had only been here for a few years. She didn't know all the losses. This one mountain sect isn't a first-rate sect, but they are very strange. They aren't strong, but they can stand tall in the central regions. This one mountain sect's ancestor is a weirdo. He often does some unusual things. His temper is strange. He likes beautiful women when he sees them, but hates people who are taller and more handsome than him. Ma Lin said, Master was so outstanding and elegant that he was jealous of him. The 2 of them even fought a few times. That's how the grudge was formed. If we let him know that we are Master's disciples, I'm afraid he will take his anger out on us. He can cut through the void and come here. His strength isn't low, right? I wonder who is stronger between him and Marshal Uncle. Nalan Lan said. Naturally, Marshal Uncle is stronger. However, this guy has many tricks up his sleeves. His battle strength is average, but he is still alive. Ma Lin didn't like this ugly bald man. He didn't even want to look at him. Sima Yue, who had been paying attention to the situation, took a second look at this dark bald man after hearing Ma Lin's words. She realized that he was indeed very ugly. However, the few black-clothed women behind him were very beautiful. It was just that they were all cold as ice. They looked at everyone as if they owed them millions of dollars. This was simply a combination of beauties and beasts. The dark bald man stood in midair and looked at the densely packed people on the shore. His thick lips parted. "Oh, I didn't think that there would be so many people here. Beauties, let me take a look. Which powers have come? Sage Pavilion. Kong Valley. 10 great evils." The few beauties said one sentence after another. Very quickly, they said the names of the tens of powers that had come here. Sima Yue followed the second beauty's gaze when she said Kong Valley. Indeed, she saw a few Kong Valley disciples. She turned her head and looked at Kong Sangyi with a questioning look. "They are the disciples who followed us to take revenge. At that time, they came here with us. However, I didn't like them following us, so I let them move on their own. I didn't think that these guys would sneak here." Kong Sangyi said. Sima Yue leaned over to her ear and whispered, "Xiang Yi, send them a message later. Tell them to leave and not get involved in the matters here. If possible, they should leave as soon as possible." Chapter 711. The following is provided for you, 711. Please enjoy. Kong Sangyi had some doubts, but still nodded and said, "I'll pass the message to them." Sima Yue was very satisfied with Kong Sangyi's unconditional trust. She would never cheat her, but if she doubted her, it would mean that she did not trust her. After being together for so long, if they did not reach this level, then there was no need for them to interact anymore. Kong Sangyi left after speaking. She seemed to be walking around casually, but intentionally or unintentionally, she came to the Kong Valley. She was wearing a human skin mask, so the Kong Valley people did not recognize her immediately. She came to the side of a man in white and called out softly, "Senior." Lu Shenqiu was talking to the Kong Valley people about one mountain sect when he suddenly heard Kong Sangyi's voice. He was shocked. Seeing that no one was paying attention to them, he signaled the disciples beside him to block the surroundings. "Junior, why are you here?" Lu Shenqiu asked. "I came with Feng and the rest." Kong Sangyi said, "We are all wearing human skin masks, so most people will not notice me. Why are you here?" "I came to tell you that the Kong Valley should not get involved in this matter. Try to leave as soon as possible, but don't attract too much attention." Kong Sangyi said. Lu Shenqiu was a little surprised. "Junior, didn't you always say that you wanted an auspicious beast? This is such a good opportunity." Yue must have her reasons for leaving. She has always seen things accurately. "She will not harm you," Kong Xiangyi said, "although she hasn't told me why. I'm guessing that she knows what's inside, or that she's doing something that will affect others. She does not want you to be implicated, so she asked you to leave." "Junior, you trust her that much?" Lu Shenqiu was a little doubtful. Kong Sangyi nodded and said, "I trust her. So find an excuse to leave later. Even if you don't leave, you have to leave this place. You can only watch from a safe place far away." "But, senior brother, this is an order." Kong Sangyi's attitude was firm. Seeing her like this, LV Shenqiu sighed and said, "All right then, I'll leave with my brothers. But we will not leave, we will only retreat to the back. We must ensure your safety." "Up to you." Kong Sangyi said, "Don't make it too obvious." "All right, I'm going back." Kong Sangyi pretended to be squeezed out. She did not go back immediately. Instead, she walked around other places and listened to other people talk before she went back. As soon as she left, LV Shenqiu passed down the order to leave. More and more people squeezed over. They retreated bit by bit in the crowd. Without anyone noticing, they retreated to the back of the crowd. Kong Sangyi went back to Sima Yue and asked, "Yue, why did you ask them to leave?" Sima Yue felt that the aura was getting fainter and fainter. She was very worried. Seeing Kong Sang come back, she said, "Not only they have to leave, you guys have to leave too." I'll stay here. You alone? That's too dangerous. Kong Sang-yi disagreed. We didn't plan to snatch the auspicious beast, did we? Sima Yue said, I felt a familiar aura from the auspicious beast, that's why I came here. But you see, now there are more and more people coming. The scene will be very chaotic. It's better to leave. In that case, you can leave with us. Kong Sang-yi said. I want to confirm if it's what I think it is. Sima Yue said, don't worry, it's better for me to fish in troubled waters alone. You guys should leave while it's still early. Feng, take care of Sanyang and Xiao Wu. Don't let them get hurt in the chaos. Shimin Feng replied. Yue, leave with us. Sanyang Du was worried about Sima Yue staying here alone. Sanyang, if I didn't guess wrongly, the people inside are very important to me. I can't leave. Don't worry, nothing will happen to me. Sanyang, don't you know her temperament? Let's go. Shimin Feng finished speaking and led everyone to retreat. Yue. Bei Gong Tang grabbed Sima Yue's hand. If it's really him, I will definitely keep him safe. Sima Yue said, if something happens later, you guys can't panic. Just leave this place. I'll go with you. Little Seven held Sima Yue's hand and didn't want to leave. Little Seven, I know you're very powerful, but I have something to do later. I might not be able to take care of you. Be good and leave with them. Sima Yue persuaded. I don't want to. Little Seven still didn't agree. You're not going to listen to me? Sima Yue purposely pulled a long face. What do you want to do? I can help you. I'm very powerful. Little Seven looked at Sima Yue stubbornly. Little Seven, have you forgotten our agreement? If you follow me, you have to listen to me. I'm not sure if things are what I think. If they aren't, I'll leave later. If they are, it will hinder me from doing things if there are people around me. Little Seven, you don't want me to get hurt, right? Sima Yue squatted down and coaxed her like a child. I want to be with you. Little Seven insisted, if you don't want to be with me, then I'll just stand somewhere else. She didn't want to leave. Her instincts told her that something big would happen here, and she would most likely undergo her next evolution. So, she couldn't leave. She had to wait here for her destiny. Sima Yue saw that she was so insistent and guessed that there must be a reason that she didn't know. All right then. Stay by my side. If there's any danger, you have to listen to me. She wiped the tears from the corner of Little Seven's eyes. Little Seven nodded. She hugged Sima Yue's neck and kissed her forehead. Sima Yue kissed Little Seven's face before standing up. She said to Bei Gong Tang and the others, since Little Seven doesn't want to leave, then you guys can leave. Bei Gong Tang and the others nodded and turned to leave. Their original position was quickly taken over by others. Sima Yue held Little Seven's hand and came to Shi Chen's side. Although Shi Chen and the others didn't see them wearing the human skin mask, they could still recognize her from her clothes. Thank you for showing mercy. Sima Yue saw the scarlet bee on Shi Chen's shoulder and smiled. You can return it to me now. Shi Chen caught the scarlet bee and passed it to Sima Yue. Leave it with you guys. I'm too lazy to send a second one. I'm not here to talk to you guys about this. Sima Yue said. Then why are you looking for us? Feng Kai asked. I want you guys to leave. Sima Yue directly stated her purpose. I love my family's academy. Actively cooperate with the fight against obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. Chapter 712. The following is provided for you, 712. Please enjoy. Shi Chen didn't have much of a reaction to Sima Yue's words, but Ni and the rest were unhappy. What do you mean? Why are you asking us to leave? Are you afraid that we'll get the auspicious beast and cure Third Bro's illness, so you won't have the capital to trade with them? Ni said angrily. Sima Yue looked at Scarlet Lake and said faintly, there's nothing you want here, so there's no point in you staying. It's for your own good that I'm asking you to leave. As for the purpose of your words, you can think whatever you want. With that, she held Little Seven's hand and left. The brothers were baffled by her behavior. Big Bro, Second Bro, What do you think? Shurchen asked. The people around her are gone. Feng Kai said. Didn't they wear human skin masks? Maybe they've become people we don't know. Shui Qingyang guessed. We followed them all the way here. Did you see them change their clothes? Shurchen asked. Shui Qingyang shook his head. Although they were quite far from Sima Yue, they didn't see them change their clothes, which meant that they weren't here. Since they've left, why did she stay? And she even brought a child with her. Kongren didn't understand. That's not an ordinary child. Fengji said, I didn't feel any spiritual energy waves from her body. But she didn't have the aura of an ordinary person. Could it be a transformed spirit beast? No, there's no aura of a spirit beast. Fengji shook his head. Then should we pretend that we didn't hear what she said just now? This is third bro's hope for survival. We can't leave just because of her words. Fengji said, but since she sent the people around her away, it means that something might happen here. We just have to be careful. The few of you have to be careful later. Don't leave alone. Yes, big bro. Tens of meters away from them, Sima Yue held Little Seven's hand and walked to the side of the lake, stretching out her hand to touch the enchantment. Little Seven heard Fengji's words and pouted. You told them with good intentions, but they didn't appreciate it. They still don't want to leave. They have their own plans. We can't force them. Sima Yue said, besides, they've already realized that there's danger here. They don't want to leave because they think that this is Shi Chen's hope to survive. Even if it was dangerous, they had to try their best. Don't you think that their relationship is actually very precious? Is it that difficult? If it was you guys would be the same. Little Seven said. It's precisely because I'll make the same choice that I can understand their feelings. That's why I admire them even more, Sima Yue said. If I was in danger, would you do this for me? Little Seven raised her head and asked. Of course. Sima Yue held her right hand and pinched her nose with her left hand. When Little Seven heard the answer she wanted, she smiled happily. In the latter half of the day, more and more people came to this place. Many of them directly cut through the void and came here. They were all temporarily sent here after receiving reports from their own disciples. Sima Yue saw more and more reports. Her eyebrows furrowed more and more, and her aura became colder and colder. Not only was she getting more and more anxious, but Feng Kai and the others were also getting more and more anxious. The stronger the people who came, the less chance they had. Also, a few of their former enemies came. The other party had already discovered them. It's just that their attention was now on the auspicious beast and they hadn't dealt with them yet. They were afraid that when this matter was over, they wouldn't be able to escape the fate of being hunted down. Let's leave, Shurchen said. Third brother? Third brother? Let's go. Shurchen turned around and left after speaking. Many people left like them. It didn't look very unusual now. Feng Kai and the others also knew that it would be very dangerous to continue staying here. The hope of the auspicious beast was too slim. It would be fine if there weren't so many big forces and clans. In the end, many forces sent people here one after another. They had no way to contend with them now. They came to the mountain in the distance. This mountain happened to be the mountain where Sima Yulin and the others were. They could see the scene clearly from here. They left early and occupied a better place. Some people left later and occupied the mountain like them to observe the situation, but it wasn't as good as their position. I told you to leave long ago. You didn't listen to her, right? Fortunately, our position here is good. Otherwise, you won't be able to see a good show. Fatty Chu ridiculed. Feng Kai and the others landed on the mountain. When they saw the calm people, they asked, "Aren't you worried about her?" "What's there to worry about? Yu is powerful." Fatty Chu said, "It's a good thing that you guys finally understood. If you had stubbornly guarded that place, not to mention anything else, those powerhouses wouldn't have let you guys get it. Taking a step back, even if you got it later, can you hold on in the face of so many people?" This scene is really unexpected. Yusi said, "Then you're not worried about her? Leaving her and a little doll there? Yu is powerful. We'll drag her down if we stay there. Since you're all here, if you want to stay and see the situation, then stay." Simayuchi said. Thank you. Fengji cupped his hands towards them and waited at the side with his brothers. Roar. In this half-day, the roars of beasts from the spirit barrier became more and more frequent. It made the faces of those who stayed blossom. Judging from the roar, the auspicious beast doesn't seem to be in a good condition. Someone said. Could it be that its evolution is in danger? Someone guessed. It better not die. Otherwise, wouldn't I have come here for nothing? Sima Yu heard the discussion of the people beside her and heard the roar of endless pain. She couldn't bear it and called out Little Roar. The moment he came out, she merged with him successfully. Let's go. Sima Yu carried Little Seven and flew towards the center of the lake. When she encountered the spirit barrier shook gently and let her in. Someone actually went in? That's incredible. Isn't there a spirit barrier? How did she get in? Yeah, could it be that this spirit barrier is useless? It can't be. I'm guessing she must have some treasure on her. That's not for sure. Someone agreed. But whether it's useful or not, won't we know once we try? Yeah, let's try. Many people thought so. So for a moment, whether they were in the air or on land, they all flew towards the lake. What surprised everyone was that except for Sima Yu, many people who followed behind, regardless of their strength, were all blocked outside the spirit barrier. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you. Chapter 7:13. When Sima Yue and Little Seven entered the enchantment, an old man on the island in the middle of the lake suddenly opened his eyes and leaped away. In front of the island, there was a figure soaking in the water. Only a small head was exposed. From the outside, it looks like there is a lot of fog. I didn't expect there to be nothing inside. Little Seven said. That smoke was originally produced by the array formation. It was used to block the view of the outside world. Otherwise, how could a normal mist block a person's divine sense? Sima Yue said. Oh. Little Seven nodded in understanding. Yu, why do I feel that this array formation is a little familiar? Have you seen this array before? Sima Yue was doubtful, but she was not surprised. Of course you find it familiar. An old man appeared in front of the two of them and looked at them coldly. When Little Seven heard this voice, she subconsciously jumped up and hid behind Sima Yu with a whoosh. She cried out, You, why are you here? She knew it. Why did this formation feel so familiar? Wasn't this the formation that had trapped her main body for so long? I also want to ask, why are you here? Why did he run out? How did old Yuan manage you? Fan Lei waited for Little Seven. He promised me. Little Seven shouted at Fan Lei. Is this Vice President Fan? Sima Yue bowed to Fan Lei. For you. Fan Lei looked at Sima Yue. He sensed that the two of them had come in, so he came over. He thought that if they came in with ill intentions, he would deal with them first. He didn't expect to see Little Seven with her. I'm a student from the inner courtyard. My teacher is Su Jin. Sima Yue said, also, I'm Little Two's relative. Fan Lei's eyes narrowed. Are you Sima Yue? Director Fan knows me? Sima Yue was slightly surprised. Little Two said so. The vice president flicked his sleeves. Since you're here, come over. Vice President, how is Little Two now? Sima Yue asked. The situation isn't very good. Fan Lei said. Sima Yue felt that Principal Fan was colder than other principals. He didn't talk much and his voice was cold. Before they reached the center of the lake, Sima Yue saw Little Two in the shallow water with a pained expression. After not seeing him for a few years, Little Two had changed a lot. His original 7 or 8 years old appearance had turned into a teenager. His facial features had matured, but he still had some childishness. His face was a little pale, and his brows were tightly furrowed. It seemed like he was enduring intense pain. Director Fan, have you been here for the past 2 years? Sima Yue asked. Yes, he has been soaking in this water for 2 years. Dean Fan had accompanied Little Two day and night for the past 2 years. Seeing his forbearance and strength, he liked him very much. When he talked about him, his tone softened a lot. Ayo, little Two's closed eyes suddenly opened, and his black pupils turned golden. He raised his head and roared, releasing the aura of an auspicious beast without reservation. This was the aura he had sensed from the outside. It was this aura that she and Bei Gong felt was little Two's aura, which was why they suspected he was here. They didn't expect it to really be him. Little Two's facial features became distorted from the pain. Large beads of sweat fell into the lake, splashing up little ripples. His body had changed a lot in the ripples. Sima Yue saw little Two like this and felt distressed, saying, "Does he feel so uncomfortable every time he changes?" Since his bloodline has already awakened, the human bloodline in his body has been nibbled away. Now his changes are based on his strength. Every time his strength increases, his appearance will change. However, because of the restrictions on his body, he still needs some time to complete the transformation. There had been news of him since 2 years ago. Didn't that mean he had endured for 2 years? The most dangerous stage has passed, and he is about to complete the transformation. The danger now is not this, but the people outside. Fan Lei saw the densely packed people on the shore and felt a headache. Little Two had endured the transformation this time. His golden pupils turned back to black, and he regained his clarity. Seeing Sima Yue standing on the shore, a big smile appeared on his pale face. "Brother, why are you here? I came here by accident and didn't expect to meet you. Everyone was worried about you before. It's good to see you safe." Sima Yue said with a smile. "Brother, wait for me to go out. I can always be with you guys." Little Two said happily. "Yes, we will wait for you. Bei Gong and the rest are still waiting for us outside. You will see them when you go out." Sima Yue nodded and smiled. Ayo, little Two's consciousness was swallowed by the changes in his body. His pupils turned golden again, and his body started to change slightly. He looks like he is in pain. Little Seven saw little Two like this and felt much worse than when she was evolving. Even though Fan Lei had seen it many times, he still couldn't bear to see him like this. He transmitted to Little Seven, "You can help him." "I can help him?" Little Seven blinked her eyes. "Just a little bit of essence will do." Fan Lei said, "I wanted to ask Old Mao to get some, but he said you were not in school. How about a little bit?" Little Seven retracted her hand and said unwillingly, "It will hurt." "It's not like you haven't been in pain before." Fan Lei said, "When we go back, I will ask Old Yuan to give you something nice to eat." Little Seven was a little Yue. Seeing Sima Yue looking at her worriedly, she said unwillingly, "Okay then. Just a little bit." "A little bit will do." Little Seven let go of Sima Yue's hand and walked towards the water. Sima Yue didn't know about their conversation. Seeing that Little Seven was about to go over, she grabbed her and asked, "Little Seven, what are you doing?" "I'm going over to take a look." Little Seven said. "Little Two might be in danger if you go near him. Don't go over." Sima Yue said. "It's okay." Little Seven said, "He is in pain. I will go and help him." After speaking, she continued to walk forward. At the same time, her body emitted a faint fragrance. Little Two, who was in pain, felt better after smelling this fragrance. Little Seven walked to Little Two's side and bit her finger. She put it into Little Two's mouth and said, "Don't bite me. Just suck my blood." Little Two found the source of his comfort and sucked on Little Seven's finger. The fragrance spread in the surroundings. Sima Yue thought about the time when she advanced in her sleep. When she woke up, this was the smell in her mouth. It was Little Seven who helped her. It was one thing to guess it, but it was another to see it with one's own eyes. Little Seven let Little Two drink her blood for a while before retracting her hand. When she retracted her hand, she accidentally touched Little Two's tongue. She felt itchy and glared at him. However, she didn't expect to meet a pair of bright eyes. Chapter 714. Little Two only recovered his clarity for a moment before he went berserk again. Little Seven returned to the shore and took out 2 of the pills that Sima Yue had made for her. Little 7, thank you. Sima Yue touched her head and said gratefully, I did it for you. Little 7 said, otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. No matter what, thank you. Sima Yue said. Fan Lei glanced at Sima Yue. He knew what Little 7 was like back in the academy. He never thought that she would be so close to someone. There are more and more people outside. Fan Lei furrowed his brows as he looked at the people who kept coming through the void. He was worried about what would happen next. From the outside, it was a thick fog, but from the inside, it was very clear. Sima Yue saw that the sky and the ground were filled with people. They were completely surrounded. Dean Fan, can you cut through the void and open a spatial passage? Fan Lei shook his head and said, someone just sealed off the entire lake and the space above it. Didn't you notice that the people who came later didn't come from above the lake? Then can you break the seal? At least half an hour, Fan Lei said. But I don't think the people outside will give us that much time. Although this spirit formation has isolated the people outside, it has also isolated the space here. If you want to open a spatial tunnel or use a teleportation array, you will have to undo this formation. Sima Yue said, but once we break the formation, I'm afraid those people won't give us half an hour to break the formation. Fan Lei finally looked her in the eye. I didn't expect you to be so familiar with formations. Aren't you Su Jin's student? Not an alchemist? I know a little about alchemy and formations. Sima Yue said. To be able to enter Su Jin's eyes, it must not be a simple matter. Since you understand the characteristics of this array formation, you should also be proficient in array formations. Su Jin has taken in a good student. Thank you for your compliment, Dean Fan, Sima Yue replied. Old Fan, how are we going to leave? 7 saw the people outside and asked. I don't know either. Fan Lei said. How could you not know? Little 7 didn't believe him. You've always looked dull, but you're full of ideas. Don't try to fool us. Sima Yue looked at Little 7 and then at Fan Lei. She felt that her relationship with the principals was very subtle. Fan Lei still shook his head and said, there's really no other way this time. I didn't think that so many people would come, much less someone like the One Mountain Sect's patriarch. Moreover, there were quite a few of them at this level. They sealed the space because they were afraid that we would directly tear through the void and leave or use a temporary teleportation array. Then what should we do? 7 asked. I've already sent a message to Old Yuan and the others. Now, we can only hope that this teleportation array can be delayed until they arrive. Fan Lei said. What if we can't? We have to drag it out even if we can't. Fan Lei said. Dean Fan, how long until Little 2 completes his evolution? It shouldn't be long. Looking at him just now, there should be 1 or 2 more times. Fan Lei said. Boom! Suddenly, a wave of spirit energy hit the barrier, letting out an earth-shattering sound. Those people are attacking the barrier. 7 roared. Maybe it's because more and more people are coming. Those people are getting anxious. Sima Yue said. Those people are starting to attack the barrier. This is troublesome. Fan Lei said. What? Your barrier is so useless that it can't block those people's attacks? 7 asked. This barrier can't be broken in a short while, but they started attacking so early. I'm afraid this barrier won't be able to last until Little 2 completes his evolution. Fan Lei said. Boom, boom, waves of spirit energy hit the barrier, causing the surroundings to shake. Those people are attacking together. Sima Yue's expression changed. Fan Lei looked at the people attacking in the air and was very angry. These are all patriarch-level people. They actually joined forces to attack us. How despicable! The One Mountain Sect's patriarch doesn't look like much, but his strength is not bad. Sima Yue looked at the black baldy in the air and said, I didn't think that Jia Hongguang would also come. Fan Lei looked at the person opposite the black baldy and said, Who is Jia Hongguang? A vice pavilion master of a sage pavilion. Fan Lei said, This person's actions are ruthless. He's very different from the sage pavilion's righteous style. His words were very skillful. The sage pavilion's righteous style showed that they were not righteous in the dark. Jia Hongguang, Where's your dead senior brother? The Black Baldy looked unhappy when he saw Jia Hongguang. The attack that was going to hit the barrier changed direction and attacked Jia Hongguang. Jia Hongguang had just arrived and had not asked about the situation here before the Black Baldy's attack came. However, his reaction was very fast. He quickly condensed spirit energy and dissolved the Black Baldy's attack. Black Baldy, you're still as ugly as ever. Jia Hongguang glanced at the Black Baldy in disgust and landed gracefully beside Nalan Lan and the others. Master's uncles. Ma Lin and Nalan Lan bowed to Jia Hongguang. How's the situation? Jia Hongguang asked. The auspicious beast's aura is getting thicker and thicker. I think the auspicious beast is still evolving. Ma Lin said. 2 people went in before. The others wanted to go in, but they were blocked outside. 2 people went in? Jia Hongguang's gaze darkened. Which sect are they from? They're not from any other sect. No one knows them. Ma Lin felt guilty when Jia Hongguang glared at him. Jia Hongguang's expression became even more gloomy. He stared at Ma Lin until he broke out in cold sweat. Nalan Lan saw Ma Lin's frightened look and stepped forward, saying, Master's uncle, now is not the time to investigate who went in. The auspicious beast's aura is getting thicker and thicker. We should think of a way to go in now. If we let others beat us to it and snatch the auspicious beast, it won't be good. Jia Hongguang glanced at Nalan Lan and retracted some of the hostility on his body. You're right. We can't let those ugly people get the auspicious beast. My 2 friends, come with me to break this enchantment. The Black Baldy heard Jia Hongguang's words and was so angry that he stomped his feet and roared, Jia Hongguang, what are you saying? Sect Master, now is not the time to quarrel with them. The auspicious beast is more important. A cold beauty advised. You guys come with me to break this enchantment. We can't fall behind the sage pavilion. Yes, Sect Master. Jia Hongguang and the 2 people who came with him, the Black Baldy brought his group of beauties, and the others who stopped because of the change just now, all looked at the enchantment. Chapter 7:15. Sima Yue saw that these people seemed to be planning to attack the enchantment together, and she was worried that the enchantment would not be able to withstand it. With so many people attacking at once, old fan, your array won't be able to take it, right? Little Seven said, do you want me to go out and help you send them flying? As long as you don't cause me any trouble, Fan Lei said. You stay here and look after Little Tuesday. I'll go out and buy some time. Sima Yue didn't think it would be useful for Fan Lei to go out, but Little Two hadn't finished evolving yet. It wouldn't be good if he was interrupted at this time. She nodded and said, be careful, Principal Fan. If you can't hold on any longer, come back here. This formation can still hold on for a while. I understand. After Dean Fan finished speaking, he leaped through the enchantment and arrived outside. Just as those people were about to attack, they suddenly saw a person pass through the barrier and stop above it. Oh, the person hiding in the barrier has appeared. The condensed spiritual energy in Black Baldy's hand did not dissipate. For you actually dare to seize the auspicious beast. There are no auspicious beasts here. Leave quickly. Fan Lei put his hands behind his back and looked at the crowd. Since when did the people of the heavenly sect monopolize the auspicious beast? Since you dared to do it, then you should have the courage to admit it. Otherwise, how will the academy teach its students in the future? Jia Hongguang recognized Fan Lei and mocked him. My heavenly sect has always been open and aboveboard. Since I said there are no auspicious beasts here, then naturally there are none. Fan Lei said, this is only a student of our academy who is recuperating here. He cannot be disturbed. Everyone, please do us a favor. Tiske, just because you say there are no auspicious beasts, there are no auspicious beasts? A bearded man howled, everyone can feel the aura of this auspicious beast. Do you think everyone is a fool? If there really isn't an auspicious beast, open this barrier and let everyone see if there really isn't one inside. If only the student you mentioned is recuperating inside, then we naturally won't disturb him, someone said. That's right. This is a good idea. Black Baldy smiled and said, you open this barrier. When we see the situation inside, we naturally won't make things difficult for the heavenly sect. Fan Lei's face was calm. Although Little Tu used to have human blood, his blood had awakened. Recently, he had devoured all of his human blood and had become a spirit beast. If these people saw him, how could they not be tempted? Why, you don't want to? Jia Hongguang said, did we hit the nail on the head? As I said, there are no auspicious beasts here. If I open the enchantment now, what if one of you accidentally injures my student? Fan Lei said, if you want to see, wait until his injuries are completely healed. No. Jia Hongguang said, either you open it, or we open it ourselves. You choose. Jia Hongguang, do you want to go against my Sky Heaven School? Fan Lei shouted. It's not that my Sage Pavilion wants to go against the heavenly sect, but that your heavenly sect wants to go against all of us. Jia Hongguang said. That's right. Someone echoed. We all felt the aura of the auspicious beast, but you said there was no auspicious beast here. For the sake of the Sky Heaven School, we gave you a chance to prove to everyone that there was no one inside. This way, we would give up and not make things difficult for you. But you don't want to. What does this mean? It means that you have a guilty conscience. You don't dare to let everyone see the situation inside because it's not just a student healing like you said. Jia Hongguang continued, tell me, if this isn't you going against everyone, then what is it? Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? Just go ahead. Black Baldy shouted. Others were afraid of the Sky Heaven School, but he, Black Baldy, was not. He had previously bragged to others that he would catch an auspicious beast to take back as a gatekeeper. If he didn't bring the auspicious beast back today, where would he put his face? Everyone, since the people of the Sky Heaven School don't know how to appreciate favors, we don't have to give them face. No matter who this auspicious beast belongs to in the end, we have to open this enchantment reasonably. How about it? Okay. If this enchantment doesn't open, no one can get the auspicious beast. That's right. Let's work together to break this enchantment. Okay. Everyone present agreed. They had just attacked this enchantment for a while, but it didn't have any effect. If everyone attacked together, this enchantment would definitely not be able to withstand it. They had to break the enchantment to be able to do the following. Suddenly, a group of flying beasts flew over. Jixing, it's so lively here. Tuoba Wuchen stood on the leading flying beast and smiled at the people around him. Well, there are a lot of people. Feng Jixing glanced over and didn't have much interest. Tuoba family and Feng family. Why are they here? Tuoba Wuchen and Feng Jixing have been missing for many years. Why are they out now? They came back more than 2 years ago. Don't you know? I heard that they were cheated by a family. If it wasn't because that family was still resisting the devil race in the bloody passage, I'm afraid they would have been gone long ago. Someone whispered. If the Tuoba family and Feng family are involved, then isn't it even more hopeless for us? That's not necessarily true. There are more and more people from these big powers. The more likely we are to fish in troubled waters. But I heard that the Feng family and Sage Pavilion are not on good terms. I don't know if they will fight this time. Maybe they really will. That Jia Hongguang is stronger than Feng Jixing, but the people from the Feng family are not to be trifled with. Let's wait for a good show. Jia Hongguang's expression darkened when he saw Feng Jixing. In these 2 years, they had interacted a lot, but even if he was stronger than him, he couldn't gain an advantage every time they fought. This array master's battle power was too strong. Sima Yue was a little excited when she saw Feng Jixing. She hadn't seen him for a long time. But wasn't he in the middle region? Why was he here? She didn't know if he was here for Little Tuesday. The Feng family and Tuoba family were big clans in the middle region. The guards who came with them were not ordinary people. As long as she recognized them, based on their friendship, it was very possible for them not to participate in this matter. They might even help her deal with these people. But she looked at the people around her and didn't go out immediately. Jixing, I heard that there is an auspicious beast here. Do you think we should also get involved? Tuoba Wuchen saw the people whose expressions gradually changed and smiled a little obnoxiously. Feng Zhixing looked at the people by the lake one by one. He didn't see the person he wanted to see and frowned slightly. Not interested. Take it if you like. Feng Zhixing said lightly. He didn't put the people present in his eyes. Chapter 716. The following is provided for you. Chapter 716, Chapter 716. Please enjoy. Tuoba Wuchen saw his cold appearance and tapped his shoulder with the folding fan in his hand. That's an auspicious beast. Are you really not interested at all? Feng Zhixing didn't even bother to look at him. He scanned the crowd again and really didn't find Sima Yue. He wanted to leave. It's just an auspicious beast. If you want it, hurry up and go back early. Tuoba Wuchen saw Fan Lei and asked, Are you Principal Fan Lei? Young master is? Fan Lei saw that Tuoba Wuchen didn't intend to make a move immediately, so he didn't shed all pretense of cordiality and responded politely. Now he could delay for as long as possible. It's really you? Tuoba Wuchen looked a little embarrassed. This trip is difficult. What's wrong? Punner, that kid said that if I meet Principal Fan, I have to help him. But you see, it's obvious that he's going against thousands of people alone. If I help him, won't I have to go against so many people? Tuoba Wuchen let out a long sigh. It seemed that this matter was difficult and gave him a headache. And Yue is also from the academy. Logically speaking, we should also help. Feng Zhixing said. Those people had been paying attention to the situation here. When they heard that Tuoba Wuchen wanted to steal the auspicious beast, although they felt a little depressed, it was still reasonable. With them, breaking the enchantment would be more assured. But what was the situation now? They wanted to help Fan Lei? Young Master Tuoba, this heavenly sect person is trying to monopolize the auspicious beast. Are you going to be enemies with so many of us for him? Someone asked. Tuoba Wuchen waved his folding fan, and the person who spoke was beaten to the ground. At the same time, Tuoba Wuchen's body flew out and landed beside that person. Tuoba Wuchen stepped on that person's chest and scolded angrily, I can do whatever I want. How dare you threaten me? Young Master Tuoba, what are you doing? That person's fellow disciples saw his own person being beaten and scolded. Didn't you see what I did? Tuoba Wuchen turned around and glared. He dared to threaten my Tuoba family. I'm already being merciful by not taking his life. How dare you question me? Tuoba Wuchen, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have the Tuoba family behind you. The person under Tuoba Wuchen's feet roared. I don't think I'm invincible, but if I want to destroy you, I still have the ability. Tuoba Wuchen said, especially you. After he finished speaking, he exerted force with his foot. The man spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. No one knew if he was dead or just fainted. Tuoba Wuchen, you've gone too far. That person's fellow disciple berated. I didn't go too far. It's just that someone offended the dignity of my Tuoba family. How can I ignore it? Tuoba Wuchen retracted his foot and looked at that person. What, you also want to try? That person was so frightened by the killing intent in Tuoba Wuchen's eyes that he broke out in a cold sweat, but he was still trying to be brave. Tuoba Wuchen, even if your Tuoba family is a big family in the middle region, there are so many people here today. Do you want to kill them all and become the enemy of the entire continent? I don't plan to do that. Even if I wanted to, my family's old man wouldn't agree. But for those who offend my Tuoba family, we won't let them go. Tuoba Wuchen wasn't stupid. This guy dragged everyone down, so he wouldn't foolishly follow his words. Everyone's thoughts turned a few times. Tuoba Wuchen's meaning was obvious. They didn't want to become enemies with everyone, but if anyone dared to offend the Tuoba family, they wouldn't shrink back. Tuoba Wuchen flew back to his flying beast and said, Everyone, the Heavenly Heaven School isn't to be trifled with. Today, you are forcing their vice principal. Have you thought about what will happen to the continent if you become their enemy? This auspicious beast is a spirit beast of heaven and earth. It doesn't belong to the Heavenly Heaven School. The things of heaven and earth belong to the people of the world. We're just chasing treasures. We don't want to be enemies with the Heavenly Heaven School. An old man opened his mouth. His turbid eyes shot out a sharp gaze. However, his words described the conflict with the Sky Heaven School as a pursuit of treasure and not as an enemy. Even the old bastard of the Tianshan sect has come out? Tuoba Wuchen seemed to have just seen the old man. I heard that your lifespan is almost up. You want to use the blood essence of the auspicious beast to increase your lifespan, right? Don't talk nonsense. The old ancestor of the Tianshan sect shouted angrily. If this auspicious beast is obtained, it will naturally be given to the younger generation of the sect to contract. How can it increase lifespan? No. Tuoba Wuchen looked at him with an expression that said, So, you won't fight with us for the auspicious beast? The auspicious beast is so rare. We naturally won't give it up. The old ancestor of the Tianshan sect said, Tuoba Wuchen, don't confuse the public here. I'm not confusing the public. Tuoba Wuchen looked innocent. I'm telling everyone openly that I'm protecting this auspicious beast. Please give me some face. The Tuoba family will be grateful in the future. The same goes for the Feng family. Shimin Feng echoed. Some people were a little hesitant. Between becoming enemies with the Tuoba family and the Feng family and the auspicious beast, they couldn't make a choice. Some people who reacted quickly immediately made a decision in their hearts. They weren't strong. Today, so many people came. Even if they wanted to fight, it wouldn't be their turn. Moreover, they would become enemies with the Tuoba family and the Feng family. After today's matter, the Tuoba family and the Feng family wouldn't let it go. Thinking of this, some people immediately stood up and cupped their hands towards Tuoba Wuchen. Since young Master Tuoba said so, then we'll give you some face. We won't participate in today's matter anymore. Thank you, everyone. Tuoba Wuchen cupped his hands and smiled. Wuchen will remember everyone's friendship today. Young Master Tuoba is too polite. Let's go. That person waved his hand and the people behind him left. Their strength wasn't very strong. As more and more large forces got involved, their weak strength would only be cannon fodder. If they left now, they could still save their lives. After the first wave of people left, some other small forces or people with low strength also chose to leave. After a while, almost a third of the people left. The rest were people from the large forces in the middle and outer regions. Seeing those people leave, the rest of the people didn't have any objections. The fewer people there were, the fewer opponents there would be. Even if these people didn't pose a threat to them, leaving would save them a lot of time. Thank you, young Master Tuoba. Fan Lei cupped his hands towards Tuoba Wuchen. You're too polite. Who told my nephew to be your student? Tuoba Wuchen waved his fan and said, Principal Fan, there are still so many people left. It seems like they won't give up until they reach their goal. Tell me what's down here. A student of my inner courtyard is here to heal. Fan Lei said. Since it's like this, why haven't you dispersed? Tuoba Wuchen asked. Tuoba Wuchen, Feng Zhixing, you came back and didn't stay in your family to cultivate. Why did you come here to make a fool of yourself? Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Book friends, please report. Thank you everyone. Chapter 717. When Tuoba Wuchen heard this familiar sarcasm, he lifted his chin and said, I said that the Sage Pavilion would get involved no matter where they go. How was it? I wasn't wrong, was I? It's everywhere. Feng Zhixing narrowed his eyes, and a murderous aura seeped out. Tuoba Wuchen, others may be afraid of your Tuoba clan, but my Sage Pavilion is not. Jia Hongguang said, Today's auspicious beast, my Sage Pavilion will definitely take it. Then kill them all. Feng Zhixing glanced at the people from the Sage Pavilion. Teacher Feng? Nailin Lan was stunned when she saw Feng Zhixing. Her heart was filled with hatred. Wasn't it because of him that she had been expelled from Imperial College? Who would have thought that he was actually from this continent? No wonder he was so strong back then. Junior sister, do you know him? Ma Lin asked. I do. When I was in the continent below you, he was a teacher in our academy. He suddenly appeared and disappeared. So he's from this continent. Nalan Lan glared at Feng Zhixing. She guessed that since he was here, Sima Yue must have come as well. Tuoba Wuchen didn't hear Nalan Lan's words, but he saw her hateful eyes. He teased, "Is this the saintess of the branch? Zhixing, why is she looking at you like that? She looks so sad. Could it be that you have abandoned her before?" Feng Zhixing glanced at Nalan Lan and felt that she was somewhat familiar. However, she was wearing a veil and only her eyes were exposed. He couldn't recall who she was. "I don't know him," he said coldly. "I say, are you guys planning to keep chatting here? If you want to chat, then move further away. Don't block our way." Black Baldy roared impatiently. "Chat my ass, I'm not in the mood to chat with you. I said that I will protect this auspicious beast today. If you don't want to go against my Tuoba family, then scram." Tuoba Wuchen shouted back at Black Baldy. "Tuoba Wuchen, do you really think that you can go against so many of us?" The ancestor of the Tianshan school shouted, "Just the few of us are enough to deal with you. Do you dare? Aren't you afraid that my family's old man will flip out?" Tuoba Wuchen asked shamelessly. "Pif." Sima Yue laughed out loud. Tuoba Wuchen's behavior reminded her of the people on Earth who competed with their fathers. Roar! Little Tu suddenly roared. Yue's heart tightened as she looked up at the sky to observe the situation. She turned around and saw that Little Tu's entire body had ruptured. His body constantly emitted cracking sounds, and his blood quickly dyed the surrounding blood red. He should be undergoing the final evolution. Little Seven said, "Remember to stop it at this time, if not he won't be able to evolve anymore and will forever be a cripple. In serious cases, he might even lose his life." Sima Yu took out a pill and flicked it. The pill immediately landed in Little Tu's mouth and melted in his mouth. You look." Little Seven pointed to the sky and said anxiously. Sima Yue looked over and saw that those people had become excited because they felt Little Tu's aura. Tuoba Wuchen's deterrence was no longer effective on them. Their desire for the auspicious beast made them crazy. At this moment, many people started attacking the barrier again. If they continue like this, the barrier won't last much longer. Little Tu is at a critical moment. I have to go out and take a look. Little Seven, you stay here and look after Little Tuesday, okay? Little Seven nodded, but she didn't say that she wanted to go out with her. Sima Yue called out Honor Rock and the elders of the Egret clan, saying, "You guys come with me." This barrier could be left but not entered. When she came in, it was because she had fused with Little Roar. Now that Honor Rock and the others went out, they couldn't come in by themselves. As the barrier weakened, the fog inside also became thinner. They could already vaguely see the situation inside. "Fanlei, let's see how long your barrier can last." A large man attacked the barrier and laughed loudly. Sima Yu happened to come out of the spirit barrier with her men and attacked the person who was laughing. That person was only a divine emperor. After being attacked by Sima Yue, he didn't have time to react and was sent flying. "This is my heavenly sect's territory. Whoever dares to attack this barrier will be killed by the elders." Sima Yue ordered coldly. "Yes, young master." The elders were all experienced people. When they stood on the lake, those people immediately didn't dare to move. Feng Zhixing saw Yue standing in the air against the wind and smiled for the first time since coming here. Although she changed her appearance, the people behind her didn't. The elders of the Egret clan had always followed her and would only listen to her. "Who are you?" When those people saw so many transformed beasts suddenly appear, everyone's movement stopped. "I am a student of the heavenly sect." Sima Yue said, "Principal Fan has already told you that there are no auspicious beasts below. You should quickly leave." "A student of the heavenly sect? When did the heavenly sect have such a powerful student?" You." Tuoba Wuchen also recognized Sima Yue. At the Bloody Passage, he also knew that Sima Yue had brought the Egret clan people there. "Thank you, young Master Tuoba, for being willing to help us in our hour of need." Sima Yue interrupted him and said with a salute. Tuoba Wuchen's eyes turned twice and understood what she meant. This girl didn't intend to let him reveal her identity. Well said, well said. I can't stand those people with their tails up in the sky. Tuoba Wuchen intentionally or unintentionally glanced at Jia Hongguang and the others. Suddenly, someone pointed to the lake and shouted, "There really is a person inside. It really is a person." Sima Yue and Fan Lei looked over and saw that Little Two was crazily absorbing spiritual power. The surrounding spiritual power was all gathered over, and even the spiritual power of the array was sucked over. The array couldn't get enough spiritual power to support it and became shaky. The originally concealing fog disappeared and the people outside could clearly see the situation inside. There is really only one person. How is that possible? Where did the auspicious beast aura come from? The bald black man saw Little Two and exclaimed. The others were also very surprised. This was clearly the aura of an auspicious beast. How did it become a person? I already said that this is a student of my inner courtyard healing here. Fan Lei said. Tianshan Mountain's old ancestor shouted, "That is a child with a bloodline. He is activating the auspicious beast bloodline." No, he has completely activated his bloodline and is now undergoing a complete evolution. If the evolution is successful, he will be a complete auspicious beast. He is a humanoid auspicious beast from the beginning. This is better than an ordinary auspicious beast. A person who came with Jia Hongguang said. So Hongguang, you have profited. Another person laughed. My luck is really good. Jia Hongguang's gloomy face finally had a trace of a smile. I think you are really lucky. Sima Yue coldly snorted. Chapter 7:18. Sima Yue's cold aura was so strong that Jia Hongguang could not ignore it. Moreover, the group of old fellows behind her all had extraordinary auras. Although they had more people, they were still lacking in comparison. But even if it was difficult, it could not stop his determination to obtain this auspicious beast. Elder Bai, help me guard this place. Kill whoever dares to get close to Little Two. Sima Yue said coldly. Yes, young master. The White Clan elders nodded and flew above Little Tuesday. They stood in various positions and surrounded Little Tuesday. No one was allowed to touch Little Tuesday. Hongguang, this auspicious beast's bloodline has been completely stimulated. Now it is only undergoing the evolution of its body. If we can contract it now, we don't even need a beast tamer to tame it. One of Jia Hongguang's friends said, if we wait until he fully recovers before we act, I'm afraid it will be troublesome to form a contract with him. Patriarch, if you want to obtain his essence blood, it's best to act now. It'll be much harder for us to kill him once his body completes its evolution. Someone beside Patriarch Tianshan said. Yes, we don't want to form a contract. This is the best time to act. The old ancestor of Tianshan Mountain nodded and gestured to the people beside him. Everyone, we must get this auspicious beast. The people around the Tianshan sect's old ancestor roared. The people of the Tianshan sect immediately attacked Little Tuesday. Everyone, let's go together. There aren't many of them. As long as we can stall them, we can get the auspicious beast. Everyone, let's go. We can't let others get the auspicious beast first. Seeing the people of the Tianshan sect taking action, the others couldn't help but attack. The Patriarch of Heavenly Mountain, the patriarchs of the other sects, and a few old fellows tangled with the Patriarch of Egret clan. They fought and flew into the sky. Little Two gradually lost his protector. You guys go down and protect him, Tuoba Wuchen said to the people around him. Yes, young master. The members of the Tuoba family all jumped off their flying beasts and started fighting with those people. You guys go too. Protect that person and that young master well. After Feng Zhixing finished speaking, he flew to Sima Yue's side and struck down the person behind her with his palm. The Feng clan and Tuoba clan didn't have a lot of people. Facing nearly 1,000 people and their contracted beasts was still a bit strenuous. Little Two's aura became thicker and thicker, and his roar attracted the attention of many people. In order to get Little Two first, they bypassed the Feng and Tuoba families and went straight for Little Tuesday. The boundary formation fell apart under the lack of spirit power and the aftermath of the various spirit techniques. Without the boundary, those people were about to reach Little Tuesday. F***ck, do you think I'm invisible? Little Seven roared and flew above Little Tuesday. She swung her fists at the people who were flying over. She sent one of them flying with each punch. She sent all the people who came over flying. Hua Hua, you're allowed to eat me today. Sima Yue waved her hand and threw the Hua Hua out. The Hua Hua landed on the lakeside and grew at lightning speed. Before anyone could react, it had occupied the entire lakeside. Receiving Yoyue's amnesty, the Hua Hua was very happy. Flowers as tall as a person floated on the lake and in the air. Looking at it, the entire lake was full of man-eating flowers. The flowers wrapped around Little Two, and anyone who came close was eaten by it. The situation of the two sides suddenly reversed. Man-eating flower king. Someone recognized the Hua Hua and exclaimed, "Waha, there are so many people today. I can eat a lot." The Hua Hua's flowers swayed in the air proudly. "Retreat, don't be wrapped by the flowers." Someone shouted. But it was too late. Dozens of people with low power were eaten by the Hua Hua's flowers. Only those with high power relied on their speed to escape by luck. Even the battle between the ancestors and the elders of the Egret clan stopped temporarily and confronted each other in the air. "Hongguang, this is the man-eating flower king." One of Jia Hongguang's friends frowned and looked at the flowers with fear. Man-eating flower king? The continent hasn't seen a man-eating flower for a long time, let alone a man-eating flower king. Jia Hongguang said, "Is this man-eating flower very powerful?" Ma Lin and the others didn't know much about this plant-type spirit beast. As long as the main root of this man-eating flower king doesn't die, it can keep blooming. Each flower has the same power. It can be said that the man-eating flower king can fight 1,000 enemies. Jia Hongguang said, "So powerful?" Ma Lin exclaimed. The others who knew about the man-eating flower king were also shocked. Jia Hongguang quietly took out a jade slip and crushed it. Some others did the same. "Waha, why don't you come over?" The Hua Hua shouted at the people who kept retreating. Its voice was as smug as it could be. Sima Yue flew and landed on a flower, the branches swaying gently. The elders of the Egret clan also landed on the flowers behind her, standing with her as the center. She looked at everyone with her hands behind her back. She didn't say anything, but it gave people the feeling of standing at the top of the world looking down on everyone. Fan Lei saw Hua Hua, as well as the elders behind her, and the way they looked at her changed. Others didn't know, but he knew. These elders came out of the enchantment, and these people didn't exist before he came out. So where did these people come from? He already had some guesses in his heart. Tuoba Wuchen looked at Sima Yue, rubbed his eyes in disbelief, and elbowed Feng Zhixing beside him, saying, "Zhixing, is this really her?" Feng Zhixing and he knew each other since they were young, so he naturally understood what he meant. However, he didn't say anything, but looked at Sima Yue with a smile. She had grown very quickly in the past few years. Now, she was completely different from the girl who had just started cultivating. Although she grew very quickly, he still hoped that she could grow faster, because there were still many things waiting for her to do. Nalan Lan looked at Sima Yue, and suddenly thought of that person in the Yilin continent. They were clearly two different people with different temperaments, and the difference in strength was too great, so why did she think of her? Sima Yue looked at the few elders. These people were the top existences of the sect, and their strength was not much worse than her own elders. They were the same as the elders in the sky, and came to participate in today's matter because their lives were coming to an end. I didn't expect that the extinct man-eating flower king on the continent would be obtained by you. The Tian Shan mountain elder said, although it's very powerful, it's just that your level is not high enough. You can deal with those people, but to deal with us, I'm afraid you don't have the ability. I know this can't hurt you, but don't forget, my elders are enough to deal with you. Sima Yue said, you're tied down. Can you still deal with my man-eating flower king? Chapter 719. Remember, Sogu, in 1 second. You can read it anytime. Mobile users, please visit. The Heavenly Mountain Patriarch almost spat out a mouthful of blood. However, what she said was also the truth. So many of these old fellows who had not come out for many years had come out this time. She did not know which clan's elders were from, but they had tied down the group of old ancestors so tightly that they could not do anything about it. Sima Yue looked at the crowd and did not intend to continue fighting. Now that the formation was interrupted and the barrier was gone, Little Two was exposed outside. If he was accidentally injured, he would regret it to death. However, the other party didn't seem to have any intention of attacking immediately. It was as if they were waiting for something. The two sides were in a stalemate. Fan Lei had noticed Jia Hongguang's small movements before and knew that he was delaying to wait for reinforcements. However, he had no way to stop him. Little Two still needed time. Now, he only hoped that when the other party's backup arrived, Old Yuan and the others would also be able to bring their men over. Time passed quickly in the stalemate between the two sides. Little Two's situation became more and more stable. His breath was involuntarily released and slowly restrained until it could no longer be felt. Little Two stood up from the water and put on his clothes under the cover of the flowers. Then, he jumped onto a flower and roared. His aura was completely released, and everyone could faintly feel the pressure of a supreme being. At the same time, in a certain forest, several golden eyes opened at the same time, their eyes flashing with joy. The few of them came out of their cave residences and flew into the air. You guys felt it too? Yes, indeed. Let's go take a look. Yes, I have to confirm it. Little Two retracted his aura and jumped to Sima Yue's side. He shouted happily, "Big brother." Sima Yue looked at Little Two, who was already in his 20s, and suddenly felt as if her own child had just grown up. She reached out to stroke his head and smiled. You've grown up. You're even taller than me. That's also my brothers and sisters' little pictures. Although Little Two's body had grown up, his smile was still the same as before, and his dependence on her was the same as before. Far away on the mountain, Bei Gong Tang and the others were also extremely emotional. Seeing Little Two grow up after suffering so much, they all felt their hearts ache. I knew that Little Two was in danger, but I didn't expect him to experience 2 years of pain. It's a good thing that he's fine now. Fatty Chu lamented. He has recovered, but his current situation is not optimistic. Sima Yulin said as he looked at a certain spot in the sky. What is it? Sima Yuming asked. There's movement in that space. Someone should be coming. Sima Yulin's perception of space was very sensitive. It was just a small fluctuation, but he could feel it. Little Two then bowed to Fan Lei and said gratefully, "Thank you, Dean Fan, for taking care of me these past 2 years. It's good that you've recovered." Fan Lei smiled. Let's leave this place first. Before the other party's reinforcements arrived, it was better to leave quickly. Do you think you can still leave? Jia Hongguang sneered. Martial uncle, our master and the others here? Ma Lin asked excitedly. It should be soon. Jia Hongguang said, go and stop them. No matter what, don't let them leave. Once they leave today, it will be difficult to catch this auspicious beast later. Yes, martial uncle. The people of the Sage Pavilion knew that their pavilion master was coming. They were not afraid of the man-eating flower and surrounded them in the air. The others also contacted the people behind them. Before they arrived, they did not dare to let Little Two and the others leave. A group of bandits stood on the same front again. They called for reinforcements. This is to delay time. We have to kill our way out immediately. Fan Lei said as he immediately attacked Jia Hongguang. The two immediately fought. Sima Yu also guessed that Jia Hongguang and the others wanted to delay time. At the same time as Fan Lei's order, the Huahua controlled the flower branches to bite those people. Those with low strength could not escape its speed and were swallowed by it. Little Two's strength increased sharply. From the strength that had not yet reached the divine rank, he became an expert comparable to a high-level monarch rank. He fought with an expert who came with Jia Hongguang. Feng Zhixing and the others also joined in. The battle broke out. Hongguang, we can't hold on anymore. We can only summon the bird clan for help. A friend of Jia Hongguang said. Then brother, please summon them. When we return, the sage pavilion will reward you greatly. Jia Hongguang said. This was what the other party had been waiting for. With his guarantee, that person shouted loudly and called out his contracted beast, saying, I know you want to help me, but if I die, you will die too. I don't ask you to do it, but please summon the nearby bird clan to help. You don't want me to die, right? That person summoned a phoenix, and it was a very strong one. It was unknown what method he used to contract it. That phoenix had a cold aura. It looked at its master with a murderous aura. He glanced at the chaotic battlefield and the injuries on its master's body. He released his aura. Very quickly, a cry came from not far away. It was considered a response. Sima Yu had noticed the phoenix the moment it appeared. She could also feel that it was not an ordinary oppressive force. Yu, this should be a Swanni. It's a strong one. There is no obedience in its eyes. It must have been accidentally contracted by someone. Little Rock said to Sima Yu in the spirit pagoda. Phoenixes were the bird clan whose bloodline was closest to the vermilion bird. It was divided into Swanni, Qingwan, Golden Phoenix, Blue Phoenix, etc. The Swanni had a higher status in the Phoenix clan. It was also known as the Phoenix Emperor. Their clan was much smaller than the other clans, but their overall strength was much stronger. It was obvious that their battle strength was high. And it was said that this Swanni was very arrogant. It would definitely not recognize anyone as its master. It was unknown how this person managed to contract it. Do you know what he was doing just now? Sima Yu asked. The Swanni has a very high status. It can summon the nearby bird clan. I think he was summoning those people. Little Rock guessed. Sima Yu could not help but laugh. This guy actually wanted to use the bird clan here to deal with them. She wondered what his expression would be when he knew the result. Yu, let Little Rock go out later. I'm really curious what their expressions will be when they see him. Little Dream giggled. Sima Yu replied. She was also curious as to what kind of expressions the people from the Sage Pavilion would have. Very quickly, a flock of birds flew towards the center. Sima Yu was happy when she saw them. These guys were flamingos. The leader's strength was not very high. It should not be their king. When the flamingos arrived, they did not immediately join in the battle. Instead, they came in front of Lu Tian and bowed. Master, I wonder what instructions you have for summoning us? Lu Tian looked at Sima Yu and said, Kill her. Remember, Sogu, in 1 second. Read it at any time. Sogu's first release, Crazy Wife, Godly Doctor 5th Young Miss latest chapter. This chapter is chapter 719. If you feel that this chapter is not bad, please do not forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 720. From Lu Tian's point of view, he was called out because Jia Hongguang and the rest could not deal with the man-eating flower king. Sima Yu was the man-eating flower king's contracted master. As long as she was dealt with, the other problems would be solved. When Sima Yu saw Lu Tian's imposing manner, she was filled with regret. Little Rock was the king of the rocks. The two of them had never ordered these birds around like this before. Although Fiery Bird was far away from the epicenter of the battle, they still knew what was happening. Upon receiving Lu Tian's order, the leader ordered his subordinates to take action. The flamingos were not as large as other birds, but each of them was still 1 to 2 meters long. They attacked together, almost blocking the space around Sima Yu. Sima Yulin and the others, who were watching the battle from afar, didn't react. Third Aunt Du and Little Wu were shocked. When they were about to help, they were pulled back by Bei Gong Tang. Third Aunt, don't worry. Yu will be fine. Bei Gong Tang consoled. So many flamingos besieged her alone, how could she be fine? Third Aunt Du said anxiously. You believe her? Look, even Brother Feng didn't go. Bei Gong Tang said. Third Aunt Du followed Bei Gong Tang's line of sight and glanced at Shimin Feng. Although he was a little worried, he didn't do anything. San Yang, she'll be fine. Kong Sang said. Not far away, the 10 villains wanted to help Sima Yue, but when they saw how calm they were, they did not do anything. The other people who had retreated saw that Sima Yue did not recall the other flowers of the man-eating flower king to protect herself and scolded her in their hearts for being stupid. However, in the next second, they could not scold her because when all the flamingos approached her, not only did they not hurt her, but they all fell to the ground and kept trembling. This is the pressure of the golden-winged rock. The king of rocks? Why is he here? Look, it's really the golden-winged rock. Where did this person come from? He has the man-eating flower king, a plant-type contract beast that is almost extinct. Now he has the rock king. Luckily we backed out just now. This is the best decision we've made in all these years. Little Rock flew a circle around Sima Yue before turning into human form and landing beside her. He looked at the people who were prostrating themselves on the ground because of his aura and shouted coldly, "You have guts, daring to act against this king's contracted master." King's contractor? The flamingo crawling on the ground was horrified. How could this person be the king's contractor? If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have dared to make a move. Little Rock released his own pressure, and those flamingos couldn't even breathe. Even Lu Tian, who had already been contracted, could not resist and lowered his noble head. "King, please quell your anger. We did not know that he was King's contracted master. King, please quell your anger." Fiery Bird's leader was slightly stronger and could still speak. "Little Rock, don't kill them." Sima Yue said, "They were just following orders." After saying this, she glanced at Lu Tian and his contractor. Little Rock retracted his aura, and those flamingos could breathe again. It was as if they had just walked one round from the edge of death. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that if they made Little Rock unhappy, he would kill them. Jia Hongguang and the rest were stunned. They originally thought that with the help of the flamingos, they would be able to quickly take down the other party. Who would have thought that Sima Yue was actually the king of the rock's contractor? Now that the flamingos were here, wouldn't they become their helpers? Indeed, after Little Rock retracted his aura, he was still angry and coldly said, "You attacked my contractor, I will not pursue this matter. Now, kill those people for me. Those who dared to attack my contractor, don't let a single one of them go." King. The flamingos all stood up. This time, they turned around and attacked the other party. Their helpers had become their enemies. Yue's side was originally stronger, but with the addition of the flamingos, those people were quickly taken down. Lu Fei saw that his contractor was beaten until he was on the verge of death, but he remained in his original position without any intention of helping. Seeing Sima Yue in front of him, he didn't have any other expression. Sima Yue stood on the man-eating flower and looked down at Lu Fei. This person had said that he wanted to kill her the moment he appeared. He looked at her calmly, without any killing intent or fear, as if she was an outsider. "Tell me, if I kill him, what will you do?" "Die." Lu Fei said indifferently, as if he wasn't talking about himself. "Aren't you afraid?" Sima Yue asked. "What's there to be afraid of?" Lu Fei didn't have the fear of death. "Being contracted, I should have died. But because I was worried, I dragged out an ignoble existence. Now that I'm dead, it's just helping me." Sima Yue smiled, but didn't say whether she wanted to kill him or not. But Little Seven was still angry. She flew to the side of Lu Fei's contractor and stepped on his chest. "Who asked you to call people to kill you? Who asked you to call people?" "Pooh, that person was already seriously injured, and now he was on the verge of death." Lu Fei still stood there indifferently, as if that person's life and death had nothing to do with him. "I'll send you to the Western Paradise," Little Seven said as she was about to step on him. A gust of wind suddenly blew over, and Little Seven felt danger. She had no choice but to dodge, and that fatal kick was stopped halfway. "Brother, have mercy." A shout came from afar, shouting towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked towards the direction of the voice and saw a lady in colorful clothes flying over, followed by an old woman. The force that hit Little Seven just now was from the old woman. She had never seen this lady before, but she recognized her. Seeing that little Seven was about to attack again, she hurriedly stopped her. Little Seven, wait a minute. Little Seven had already lifted her leg, but when she heard Sima Yoyue's words, her leg stopped in midair. She looked at the old woman and shouted, "Were you the one who attacked me just now? Little friend, please have mercy." The old woman pleaded, but her expression was very arrogant, and she didn't have the consciousness to beg. "What if I don't?" Little Seven put her hands on her hips, and her leg landed on that person's chest, but she didn't use any strength. The lady in colorful clothes flew to Lu Fei's side, looked at Little Seven and said, "Please spare his life." You're helping this person, are you from the Sage Pavilion? Little Seven looked at the lady in colorful clothes. "If you are, then I can't listen to you." The lady in colorful clothes looked at Sima Yue and begged, "Brother, please have mercy on him. I don't know who he is, but he can't die." Chapter 721. Kaihong, you've grown so big. Sima Yue looked at Kaihong and waved at her. The little bird back then had already transformed into a human. Rainbow came in front of Sima Yue. Yue came down from the flower and stood beside her. "Brother, he is my uncle. Please don't kill his contractor." Rainbow grabbed Sima Yue's hand and said, "All right." Sima Yue nodded and said, "Since our little Rainbow has spoken, what's wrong with sparing his life?" "Thank you, big brother." Kaihong smiled. "Kaihong, what's the point of begging her? Now that I've become a contract beast, I'd rather die than live." Lu Fei looked at Kaihong, not at all happy that he had survived. "Uncle, you were injured because of Rainbow. That's why this person took advantage of the situation to contract you. Are you trying to make Kaihong die of guilt?" Tears fell from Caihong's eyes. "Uncle, Kaihong only has you left. Are you going to abandon Kaihong too?" Lu Fei's indifferent expression finally changed. If it wasn't for her, how could he still be alive after being contracted? "Uncle, don't worry, I will find a way to remove the contract for you." Rainbow said firmly, "Before that, don't even think about dying. Otherwise, I'll go with you and father." Lu Fei walked over and wiped away the tears on her face. "Since I promised your father that I would take care of you, I won't go back on my words when you grow up." He did not believe that there was a way to break the contract, but before Rainbow grew up, he would not end his life. Little Seven snorted coldly. She couldn't help but exert more force on that person's foot. Sima Yue looked at that arrogant face and walked over. She pulled her over and said, "Little Seven, let me introduce you. This is Rainbow, a friend of mine. Rainbow, this is Little Seven." Seven turned her head to the side. She didn't like rainbows. Why did you let that person go just because this guy begged for mercy?" Rainbow now looked like a 15 or 16-year-old girl, while Little Seven was still a few years old child. She looked like she was younger than her. She didn't like this feeling. Sima Yue took out a pill and gave it to Rainbow, who fed it to the man. "Rainbow, take this person to Bei Gong and the others. I still have some things to take care of." She pointed at the mountain where Bei Gong Tang and the others were. Rainbow did not know what Sima Yue wanted to do. He nodded and flew away with Lu Fei. The old woman grabbed the man's clothes and left with him. "Little Seven, you should leave with them too." Sima Yue said to Little Seven. "I don't want it." Little Seven threw her a sideways glance. Sima Yue did not force her and ordered Hua Hua, "Hua, eat these people." Hua Hua was very happy. One flower after another, it ate all of them. Marlin was not spared either. Only Nailin Lan had used some kind of divine weapon to isolate herself, making Hua Hua helpless. "Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us." The people from the Sage Pavilion kept begging her for help, but the divine weapon's light was only big enough for one person. She had no way of letting them in. So she could not say or do anything. She could only close her eyes and put on a pained expression, as if she was feeling guilty for not being able to save them. "Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us." I'm sorry. Nailin Lan kept shaking her head, praying for her master to come quickly. So, A few spiritual powers suddenly appeared in the air and broke Huahua's branches. The flower buds fell to the ground and the people who had been swallowed rolled out. Sima Yoyue's face darkened. After a while, the other party's reinforcements had arrived. Master! Nalan Lan opened her eyes and looked at the sky happily. A space tunnel opened and Nalan Lan's master, Yu Chengbai, brought a group of people out. With a wave of his hand, more than half of the Huahua's branches were cut by him. The Huahua had lost so many of its branches and was in so much pain that it went crazy. Its vines grew quickly and new branches bloomed. It's just a man-eating flower king. How dare it act so rashly in front of me? Yu Chengbai shouted. His spiritual powers quickly condensed and he was about to attack the Huahua. That power could directly smash the Huahua into pieces. Sima Yue quickly kept the violent Huahua. This guy had been provoked to the point that it had lost its mind. Even if it saw the attack coming, it would not dodge. Yu Chengbai's attack lost its target and hit the ground, creating a hole that was tens of meters deep. Seeing that the Huahua had been kept, Nalan Lan kept her divine weapon and flew to Yu Chengbai's side. Master! Are you all right? Yu Chengbai asked with concern. I'm fine. Luckily Master came in time. But those senior brothers and sisters? Nalan Lan said sadly. Although the Huahua's buds had been cut, some people had already lost their lives and would never wake up again. Yu Chengbai looked at the dead people wearing the Sage Pavilion's clothes and said, Those who hurt my Sage Pavilion's people will not be let off. Thank you, Master. Nalan Lan obediently flew behind him and stood together with the people who came with Yu Chengbai. Yu Chengbai turned his gaze to Little Two and said, This is that auspicious beast? It actually turned into a human form? Master, this is originally a person. Nalan Lan said, He has the bloodline of a beast. Now that the spirit beast bloodline has swallowed the human bloodline, he is already an auspicious beast. Postnatal auspicious beast? This kind of auspicious beast is not that useful. Yu Chengbai looked at Little Two and was somewhat disgusted. Master, although he is a postnatal auspicious beast, the power of his bloodline is very pure. It is higher than the average auspicious beast. Nalan Lan said. What kind of auspicious beast is he? This? I don't know. He only has the aura of an auspicious beast, but he did not show his true form. Nalan Lan said, So we still don't know his true form. Don't know his true form? A voice came from the space. Then, except for the sky above the lake, there were spatial fluctuations in several other places. Those people who were paralyzed on the ground saw their own rescuers. One by one, they were half dead and half alive. They were all full of energy. Ancestor. Sect Master. Master, you're here. Clan Master. Those who came later were very angry when they saw their own disciples or clansmen beaten up like this. But now was not the time to be angry. With a wave of his long sleeves, a pill was sent directly to those people's mouths. Fan Lei saw the people who came later. His face was darker than the bottom of Yue's cooking pot. These guys seemed to have other intentions towards Little Tuesday. It did not seem to be just because he was an auspicious beast. He glanced at Little Two and could not guess the real reason. Chapter 722. The following is provided for you, 722. Please enjoy. There was a constant fluctuation in the air, and one by one, people came out of the spatial tunnel. Only a small number of people were summoned by their own people, and most of the people came this time. Sima Yue saw the new people and came to Fan Lei's side, saying, Dean Fan, what do you think? The situation is getting more and more complicated. These people seem to have come for other purposes. Fan Lei said, But what purpose could they have for so many people to gather here? No matter what the reason is, their goal is Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. I only sent a general request signal to Old Yuan and the others. I didn't expect so many people to come. Even if he brings people here, it's useless. Fan Lei said worriedly. Sima Yue looked at those people, saying, There are dozens of people from the central region, and hundreds of people from the outer region. What's going on? You can recognize their power from these people, not bad. Unfortunately, we may not be able to do anything this time. Fan Lei said. There were so many people, and so many of them were very strong, even if Old Yuan brought people here, even if Sima Yue had the golden winged rock, even if there were so many Egret clan elders, they couldn't leave under the siege of so many monarch-level experts. No matter what, I won't hand over Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. Dean Fan, I have a way to deal with these people, please think of a way to leave in a while. Fan Lei looked at her and shook his head, saying, You and Little Tu are both students of my inner court, how can I leave you behind? Even if I survive, I won't have the face to see Old Yuan again, and I won't have the face to see the students of the academy. Dean Fan, Little Tu is my brother, I can't hand him over, and these people can't give up either. For Little Tu, I may start a massacre today. Sima Yue said, although I am a student of the academy, I don't want the academy to be directly involved in this matter. Besides, if you're here, I'll kill you too. What are you going to do? Fan Lei had a bad feeling. I have my own way of attacking indiscriminately. However, I might not be able to fight after that. If there are any other situations, I'll have to ask Director Fan to solve it. Sima Yue said, Director Fan, I'm sorry. With that, she grabbed Fan Lei's arm when he wasn't paying attention and threw him out of the lake, out of the encirclement. Yu Qingbi and the others' target was Little Tuesday. Since he was still there, they didn't put a small dean in their eyes. Sima Yue then walked in front of Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen. She bowed to them and said, Young Master Tuoba, thank you for your help just now. The rest is between me and Little Tuesday. Please don't interfere and leave. Tuoba Wuchen didn't agree. If it was just a normal heavenly sect student, he would definitely leave without hesitation. However, she was his savior, Feng Zhixing's disciple, and their child. How could he let her face half of the continent's people alone? Feng Zhixing didn't say anything. He only looked at her, using his eyes to express his meaning. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and smiled gently, Don't worry. I haven't found my parents yet. There are still many things I need to do. I won't joke around with my life. Since I dare to let you leave, I naturally have absolute confidence. However, I ask that you protect my friends and take them away so that I don't have to worry about them. Feng Zhixing saw her smiling eyes and thought of her mother. The two of them had the same eyes, the same confident light, and the same confident words. He subconsciously nodded and said, If anything happens to you, I will let the entire continent be buried with you. Sima Yue was shocked by his serious look. At the same time, she sighed in her heart. It was good to have a domineering master. Feng Zhixing turned and flew towards Bei Gong Tang and the others. When Sima Yue was talking just now, she glanced over. The Feng family saw him leave and followed closely. Hey, you're serious? Tuoba Wuchen saw that Feng Zhixing was really leaving and shouted at his back. He turned back to look at Sima Yue and sighed helplessly, If he wants the entire continent to be buried with you, then count me in. Sima Yue smiled, Young Master Tuoba, he means that I'm dead. Don't worry, I won't give you that chance. You have the same personality as your father. I really don't know what to do with you. Tuoba Wuchen turned and flew away. The Toba family also left with him. After the two families left, the center of the lake became empty. Sima Yue came in front of Flamingo and said, You guys should leave too. We'll talk about your previous matters after this matter is over. Young Master Tuoba and the others helped me just now. You guys can escort them. Flamingo's leader glanced at Little Rock. Seeing that he had no objections, he accepted the order and left. He chased after Feng Zhixing and the others to meet up with Bei Gong Tang and the others. Let's go. I'll send you guys off. Feng Zhixing said to Shimin Feng. But what about Yue? Kong Sangyi looked worriedly at the four people in the center of the lake. She'll be fine. Bei Gong Tang said, If we stay here, we'll hinder her movements. It's better to stay away. But Big Sister Bei Gong, Big Brother is only one person. If we knew earlier, we would have brought our clansmen along with us. That way, we could have helped Big Brother. Rainbow stomped her feet, her heart filled with worry. Rainbow, you still don't believe in Yue? When did she do something she wasn't sure of? Wei Ziqi said, I think she's going to use that move. That move? What move? Tuobo Wuchen asked. Let's leave here first. This is not the place to talk about life. Sima Yulin said, as for what she's going to do, I believe we'll see soon. You guys are coming with us, right? The 10 great villains were shocked at this time. Sima Yue gave them too many surprises. She was the junior valley master of the first-ranked divine Devil Valley. She was an alchemist. She had the man-eating flower king and the king of the rocks, the golden-winged rock. She had a good relationship with the first-ranked clans in the central regions. She even said that if something happened, the entire continent would be buried with her. It was obvious that their relationship was not ordinary. Looking at all of these individually, it would be shocking, not to mention all of them happening to the same person. When they said that she wanted to create a force, they didn't take it to heart because they still didn't believe that she could do it. But now, seeing that she didn't change her expression in the face of so many forces, they all had faith in her. She could survive today's incident and create a force that belonged to her. If she can safely survive today, we will agree to what she said before. Feng Ji suppressed the excitement in his heart and said faintly, actively cooperate with the special campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Readers, please report. Thank you. Chapter 723. She will definitely get through this. You have to remember what you said. Sima Yulin called out his flying beast, saying, let's go. This is nothing to Yue, but it's going to hurt again this time. Fatty Chu wasn't worried about Sima Yue at all. Instead, he was looking forward to what would happen to those people. Really? Rainbow still didn't believe it and wanted to go back to help her. Rainbow will be a hindrance to Yue if we stay here. Bei Gongtang said, furthermore, if Yue can't handle these people, there's no point in us staying. Instead of waiting for death here, why don't I go back and improve my strength so that I can avenge her in the future? That's right. Sima Yulun nodded in agreement. Yue had told them this more than once. If they couldn't win, they shouldn't force themselves to come here. They should escape and seek revenge in the future. If a person died, then there would be nothing left. Therefore, they would never blindly risk their lives for others, because it was useless. Tuoba Wu Chen and the others really didn't know why Fatty Chu and the others had so much confidence in Sima Yue, but seeing them like this, their hearts also calmed down a little. Let's go. Sima Yulin urged again. The elders of the Egret clan and Honor Rock knew what Sima Yu wanted to do, so when Little Rock ordered them to leave, they did not hesitate and left the scene directly. They flew dozens of kilometers away and stopped in the air to observe the situation of the Scarlet Flame Lake. The other onlookers also retreated far away. As more and more experts appeared, they already felt that the situation was getting more and more serious. If a fight broke out, they would definitely be affected from their previous distance. Sima Yue and Little Two stood on the island in the middle of the lake. Little Seven refused to leave her side while Little Rock stood by her side to protect her. Now, there were only the 4 of them left on the island, while there were hundreds of people in the air and on the shore. Moreover, any one of them had a higher cultivation level than her. Little Two, when did you become so popular that so many people are fighting for you? Even in such a situation, she still had the mood to chat with Little Tuesday. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's handsome. Little Two said cheekily. When did you learn to be so glib? Sima patted his head and said, I'm guessing that you must be of some use to attract so many people. But what does it do? You want to know? Isn't that easy? Just ask and you'll know. Little Two said. Do you think they'll tell you even if you ask? Are you stupid? Little Seven said with a look of disdain. How do you know without trying? Little Two snorted, then took a step forward and stood in front of Sima Yue, saying, Are you here for me? It's just an auspicious beast, yet it can make so many experts appear. It's really strange. Auspicious beast, there are so many of us today. You better follow us obediently, someone said. What are the benefits of following you guys? Little Two asked. Your friend can live. That's still useless to me. Little Two said, I'm just a little auspicious beast. I'm afraid I can't attract the attention of so many forces, right? Since you want me to recognize you as my master, then can you tell me the reason? Whoever tells me that he can win against us today, I'll go with him. His words had a certain effect. Someone became excited and said, there's a rumor in the continent that an immortal land is about to open, but not everyone can enter. They need an auspicious beast to open the way. Now that the auspicious beast has appeared early, the news of an auspicious beast appearing in the dark forest has spread. Naturally, it will cause everyone to fight over it. You said that if I tell you the reason, you'll go with me. When the people present heard his words, they couldn't help but scold him for being stupid in their hearts. Originally, it was a tacit understanding, but now that it was said, it was different. Since everyone came for this matter and the news was subconsciously confirmed as true, they would definitely rob it when the time came. And that person was still looking at Little Two, really thinking that he would recognize him as his master. I said that if you can win against us today, I'll go with you. You can't win against us, so why would I go with you? Little Two looked at him as if he was stupid. He felt that this person's IQ was worrying. Did he cultivate too much and damage his brain? There are so many people today. Do you think you can get out of here alive? That person shouted, that said that we only want the blood of the auspicious beast. We didn't say that we want you alive. If you die, we can just divide your flesh and blood. It will also save us from killing each other. Only blood was enough? Sima Yue looked at the big man. She didn't know if this person was really stupid or just pretending to be stupid. If he wasn't stupid, he was easily tricked by Little Two into revealing the reason for coming. If he was stupid, he calmed the restless crowd with one sentence. Those forces who originally wanted to snatch Little Two calmed down when they heard his words. That's right, that immortal land only needed the blood of the auspicious beast. They could share it equally. There was no need to fight to the death. There are a lot of auspicious beasts in the primordial lands. Just look at your sage pavilion. Doesn't your holy son have a Kirin beast? Why don't you ask him for it? You have so many pavilions. You can ask him to take some out. You can share it equally. Why fight with others? Sima Yue didn't understand. This auspicious beast must be in its infancy. How difficult is it to find such an auspicious beast now? Someone said. Since you only need the blood of the auspicious beast, I think we shouldn't fight for it. How about we divide the auspicious beast's flesh and blood equally? Yu Chengbai said. The people who came later were very strong. If they fought with them, they wouldn't necessarily win. It was better to leave their strength for the immortal land to find opportunities. That's good. If they could avoid fighting, then they wouldn't fight. Since there was such a good way, why should they fight? It was just an auspicious beast. Although it was precious, it wasn't to the point of falling out with so many forces for it. It was best to divide it equally. Then we'll arrange it according to the order of strength and arrival. Yu Chengbai said. The sage pavilion was very strong. He was the first to arrive. No matter what, he would be first in line. Okay. I agree. Those shameless people agreed. They didn't see Sima Yue's face getting darker and darker. They wanted to divide Little Two's flesh and blood equally? Sima Yue saw that those guys were discussing enthusiastically. Many people looked at Little Two with undisguised killing intent. She was getting angrier and angrier. She sneered, "You guys are too much. Do you really think this continent is your backyard? That you can do whatever you want? If you want to kill Little Two for his flesh and blood, have you asked for our opinion?" Chapter 724. Sima Yue's cold voice interrupted their discussion. They looked at her as if they were looking at a tiny ant. A tiny ant dares to speak to us like this? How audacious! An old woman shouted. Although you have the golden-winged great roc, your contracted beast won't be of much use here today. Although there are many bird races in the dark forest, there aren't any big races. You, the king of the rocks, are useless. You'd better obediently hand over the auspicious beast, and we can still give you a way out. When Sima Yu heard these words, she was both angry and amused, saying, "You want to kill my family, but you're still so self-righteous. It seems like when you cultivate, you've not only cultivated your spirit energy, but also your skin, right? Otherwise, how could he be so shameless?" The asterisk starred. One of the elders choked on Sima Yue's words and sent a wave of spiritual energy towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue pulled little 2 and little 7 and retreated. The spiritual energy hit a black rock and ripples appeared on the surface of the lake. The enchantment enveloped the entire lake. This was the array left behind by Fan Lei. Previously, it had failed because little 2 had absorbed all the surrounding spiritual power, but it was not destroyed. The position she was standing at just now was the array stone that activated the array. Once spiritual power entered the array stone, the array automatically activated. This spirit formation was one of the most difficult spirit formations. Just activating it was not something an ordinary person could do. With her current strength, it would take a while before she could inject enough spiritual energy. In order to catch them off guard, she had angered those people just now so that someone could help her. Who would have thought that those old fellows would be so easily provoked that someone would come to their aid so quickly? Fortunately, someone had sealed the space above the small lake, so when those people came, they were not above the small lake, so there was no outsider in the enchantment. Little 7, little 2, pay attention to the situation outside. If someone attacks, inject your spiritual energy inside. She instructed. Yu, what are you doing? Little 7 asked. I'm going to set up an array. Since these people want to kill little 2, I'll make them suffer. Sima Yue finished speaking and took out a large array stone. This was something she had exchanged with Chou Xiaotian in the southern 7 prefectures. There were only a few pieces in total. Originally, she wanted to use it when the array's strength was higher, but in this situation, she had to use it. Sima Yue placed the array stone in the center of the island in the middle of the lake, then took out some ordinary array stones to set up on the island. Of the island. When the people outside saw that the small lake was covered by a thin layer of mist and the small island at the center of the lake had disappeared, they were astonished for a moment. However, they immediately reacted. That person must have made a move and activated some kind of formation. This is a formation? Yu Qingbi asked in astonishment. Master. Nalan Lan said, this array was there before. We were blocked by this array for a long time. Later on, for some reason, it lost its effectiveness. I didn't expect it to still be usable now. It's just a spirit formation. Just break it for her. An old man who came with Yu Qingbi said indifferently. At the same time, he prepared to condense spiritual energy to attack the barrier. Wait! A middle-aged man came out from behind and looked at the array excitedly. Xie Jun, what are you doing? Yu Qingbi knew this man. He was an elder of an array sect. Seeing him like this, he asked in a deep voice. Yu Qingbi, do you know what kind of array this is? Xie Jun asked. Isn't it just an ordinary obstruction array? Why are you making such a fuss about it? Yu Qingbi said. You're wrong. This is an array formation. It's an array formation. Xie Jun said excitedly. So what if it's an array formation? Do you remember that there was a sect that lived on arrays? It was popular in the primordial lands. All the forces bowed their heads and then disappeared in an instant? Xie Jun asked. Why don't I know? Didn't your sect use their inheritance as a banner to establish a sect? What does this have to do with the current situation? An old woman in black came out and asked. Sima Yue just looked up and saw the logo on the old woman in black's clothes. She recognized that it was the logo of Cloud Cave. The people of Cloud Cave also came? It was the first time she saw the people of Cloud Cave after the little realm cheated the people of Cloud Cave. Thinking of Wu Lingyu's chat, she said that Cloud Cave was recently fighting with Divine Devil Valley. Now that she saw the people of Cloud Cave, she had to entertain her well. She just didn't know what the status of this person was in Cloud Cave. And hey, you don't know. Xie Jun bowed to Auntie He and said, this spirit formation is unique to the sect that day, and it is a formation that only core disciples can learn. Now that it has appeared here, aren't you curious at all? This array was arranged by the people of the heavenly sect. It's not the people of that sect. Yu Qingbi said. That sect has disappeared for nearly 1,000 years. How can this be related to that sect? Well, get out of the way. We don't have time to discuss this array and a sect that has disappeared. Yes, Xie Jun, wait until we break the barrier. If you want to study the array, just find the broken array. Now get out of the way. Aunt He also said. Xie Jun saw that everyone was looking at him and didn't dare to say anything. He just retreated to the back and guessed how this array was related to the heavenly sect. When this was over, he would go to the heavenly sect and ask in person. Thinking of visiting the heavenly sect in the future, he didn't want to go against the heavenly sect. And this Sima Yue was a student of the heavenly sect. He couldn't embarrass her. In the battle between the array and the heavenly sect, he was hesitant. When he didn't pay attention, he heard a boom. Yu Qingbi and the others were already attacking the barrier. The first attack made the array tremble, but it wasn't completely broken. Little 2 and Little 7 quickly injected their spirit power into the place that Sima Yue said and patched the barrier a little. The sect's attack is very powerful. We can only hold on for a while. Little 7 said. Sima Yue thought for a while and called out Chongming. Think of a way to stall for 5 minutes. She didn't want Qian Yin and the others to come out because she didn't want Nalan Lan to know that it was her. Moreover, they weren't strong enough. It was useless for them to come out. But now it seemed that she needed her help. In fact, she thought too much. When Nalan Lan was in the Nalan family, she didn't receive much news from the outside world. After she came to the Nalan family, she had been in seclusion to stimulate her body. After she came out, she didn't hear about Chongming. She hadn't seen Chongming in the sacred city before she was brought to the primordial lands. Therefore, she didn't know Chongming. Chapter 725. Chongming nodded at Sima Yue. His hands began to move rapidly. A ripple began to spread out from his hands and finally attached to the barrier. The barrier that was originally on the verge of collapse seemed to have been wrapped up and became stable again. Ugh! After doing this, he knelt down on one knee and clutched his chest. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Chongming, how are you? Little 2 and Little 7 were released from the array and hurried over to support him. Chongming, are you hurt? Chongming waved his hand and said, It's fine. It's just that it's a bit difficult for me to use this move with my current strength. Sima Yue also noticed that something was wrong with Chongming, but she was busy setting up the array and had no time to check on him. She took out a pill and threw it over. Little 2 caught it and immediately fed it to him. Chongming felt better after eating the pill. He stood up and said, This spatial distortion is different from others. This can distort the space outside the barrier so that their attacks can't touch the barrier. However, I won't be able to maintain this barrier for long. Once the time is up, this barrier will most likely disappear in an instant. Sima Yue threw the array stones into the ground one by one, and the array patterns were drawn at the same time. The various techniques were dazzling. At this time, the people outside also realized that something was wrong. Our attacks seemed to have been swallowed by something. They didn't touch the enchantment at all, Auntie He said with a frown. Spatial distortion. Xie Jun said, This must be spatial distortion. What is spatial distortion? Yu Qingbi asked. Space distortion is the distortion of the layer of space outside the barrier. When our attacks touch the distorted layer, they will be transmitted into the void, so even if we attack now, it will be useless, Xie Jun explained. Then what should we do? There's no other way. Once it was used, it could only wait for it to dissipate. If one wanted to use space distortion, they would need to be very strong. That person's strength was very low, so it was impossible for him to use this move. He must have used some other method. This kind of maintenance time is generally not long, just wait for the time to pass. Xie Jun said, Let's wait then. He's just a god emperor brat. What kind of waves can he make? Yu Qingbi sneered. He didn't need to say that. Everyone could only wait. What else could they do? All the attacks were useless. No one could do anything. 5 minutes passed and Sima Yu finished setting up the array. She just had to insert her spirit energy and it would be activated immediately. She came to Halcyon's side and said gratefully, "Thank you, Halcyon. Go back and rest." Halcyon nodded and allowed her to take him back. Sima Yu's and then looked at the group of people who were getting more and more impatient. With a cold expression her face. "Shao Qi, I'm going to trigger the tribulation lightning. Everyone here will be treated as the tribulation lightning. But Yuan, but to you, but Yuto no. You can trigger the lightning tribulation." Little Seven looked at Sima Yue in surprise. She was still thinking about how she would deal with these people. She thought of countless ways, but she didn't expect her to do this. Sima Yue nodded. "Even if Little Two is willing to follow them, these people don't intend to let us leave alive. So many experts are surrounding us. Do we have any other way to leave? Since that's the case, let's wipe them all out." Little Seven looked at Sima Yu's face. She didn't think that she was cruel. Instead, she was excited. But she was still a little afraid when she thought about lightning tribulation. "I've never experienced lightning tribulation. I don't know if this is the reason why I can't evolve. Maybe I can try." Little Seven thought. "Maybe I can try this time." "Little Seven, this lightning tribulation is very powerful. If you don't want to experience it, I can send you to a place. You can only come out after this matter is over." Sima Yu continued when she saw that she was silent. I'll go with you." Little Seven said affirmatively. "But I've never experienced lightning tribulation. If something happens, remember to send my body back to Old Yuan. Will you lose your life if you experience lightning tribulation?" "I don't know." Little Seven said. "I'm not human. If I want to increase my strength, I have to evolve. But I haven't evolved for many years. Actually, I was willing to follow you because my intuition told me that if I follow you, I might be able to cross this bottleneck and evolve. But I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is my chance to evolve. I want to try." Sima Yue guessed that Little Seven had a purpose for following her. But Su Jin said that she wasn't in danger, so she didn't ask about it. She didn't expect that she did it for this. "You haven't experienced lightning tribulation. If you can't take it, tell me. I'll send you there." "Okay." Sima Yue and Little Two agreed. Then she said to Little Two, "You just evolved into an auspicious beast. It's good for you to experience lightning tribulation. Like Little Seven, if you can't take it, I'll send you in." Little Two nodded. Boom. As soon as the time was up, the space returned to normal. The people outside couldn't wait to break the enchantment. "After delaying for so long, you've lived a little longer." And Hei said, "Now offer your flesh and blood." She spoke in a rewarding tone, as if it was an honor for Little Two to offer his flesh and blood. "If you want to take my life, then let's see if you have the ability." Little Two didn't have the slightest fear. Even if he was forced by so many forces, he still held his head high. Sima Yue looked around at the people outside. There were nearly 200 forces in the middle and outer regions. They were all led by elders or sect masters. "Thank you for thinking so highly of us. There are actually so many forces coming to take our lives. Seeing that it's not easy for everyone to cultivate if anyone leaves. What a joke. Who would leave at this time?" A white-bearded old man scolded. Sima Yue saw the Tianshan sect's old ancestor standing behind the old man. She knew that he should also be the Tianshan sect's old ancestor. She sneered. "Your Tianshan sect's old ancestor's lifespan is coming to an end. Naturally, he won't want to leave. But you may be stupid, but others aren't as stupid as you. There will always be people who want to leave. If you leave now, I can let bygones be bygones." Haha. A person who is about to die can actually say that he will let bygones be bygones. Do you think you can live? Sima Yue glanced at the man and didn't say anything. She was too lazy to waste her breath on people who were about to die. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.